11 a.m.
Peace.
Oh, and I'm unmuted too. Look, man, overtime.
Welcome back.
There's no such thing as overtime, gentlemen. This is not network TV. It's not like we have to be on at a certain time, take a station break every 3.5 seconds.
We're doing it live.
If you're Crave TV, which has like, I don't know, the app with Crave sucks. Sometimes Amazon Prime commercials annoy me, but no, we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But Fat N and Weeble, both powerhouses. The tap, by the way, for everyone that's like it's tapping $11 higher, usually you don't halt down and tap higher. That's actually come right back into flat. So Weeble's halted down up 385%. Not a typo. I feel as if there's no question about it. I don't know how we all missed this one on Friday, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. It happened. It looks like anybody that had it early, I hope you took some profit. Still a ridiculous move to the upside. Oh, I'm back in tomorrow. So I was in two things when, I don't remember which Fed guy it was. It was whatever it was. And he made those comments and we ran stops. And I was in two shorts and they both like tripped out at the exact moment. I'm just back in at the same price on MAR, giving it to 13 even. I am long IBIT, which is like a weird combination. IBIT above VWAP and MAR underneath resistance. So one of these two is going to win. It might be IBIT, but I forget which dude it was in the Fed. Because I was sitting in Pfizer short, and then all of a sudden, I still haven't even gotten back into this. And I just put in a trail when it hit the low of the day, and all of a sudden, I'm like, huh? What just happened? Because I thought it was like a Donald Trump thing that must have happened to the market because everything just started screaming higher, and I'd just gone finally back to green on Pfizer, and then we trailed out, and it hasn't been VWAP ever since. So I'm sitting around on VWAP. But it happens every now and then. Like, you'll get a piece of news that comes out. I think the market is just really jittery and more apt to pull the offer on any kind of a headline risk. So even something as simple as some Fed comments, which doesn't usually do that to the market. Today it did.
All right, what's up, everybody? Hope you're enjoying the show. Hope you've enjoyed the midday show. All we did was trade Google during the midday. So we were trying to show it, and we did. We showed it one time. We put it up on Twitter. This is the only stuff we've done. I'm going to talk, and I mean, there it goes. Like, great dip buy opportunities. We had written down here on our sticky note 157 for Google. So when we came back in and it was all the way down there, I was just like, I'm buying this thing. Forget about it. Too many, not too many. I mean, when we left you guys, we were here. Apple fell through again all the way to the downside. So that was a trade that we had left you with and basically got out of it as soon as it broke that 104 area, or sorry, 104. Hopefully not. 204 area. So it does go all the way down to 201. So that was kind of a good save. But at the end of the day, man, it's Google right now up 175. We'll see where we go from there. But that's all that we're doing. That's all that I've been doing. And it's nice to see the Nasdaq trying to get back up through VWAP right now. Nice little bottom picks down there at 1870, 18,700. Possible bottoms there for the Nasdaq. But yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. We'll try to be as exciting as the final round of the Masters. That might be a tough chance to do that. I'm still like, wow, what great television that was there yesterday afternoon. Wish that was like every weekend. But NHL playoffs are starting. NBA playoffs are starting. I actually didn't see who got all those seeds in the NBA playoffs. I'm going to have to double check that. The Golden State Warriors, I think, are a dangerous team at the 6th seed, if that's what they wound up. My kid now, because we wound up getting that PS5, you know, my kid is now obsessed with NBA 2K25. I never heard this guy say LeBron so many times.
Oh, boy.
And now he just uses LeBron and shoots threes. I'm like, dude, Luka's a better three-point shooter than LeBron. So he uses the Lakers. I'm like, dude, you just got to use Luka a little bit more there.
No love for Austin Reeves?
LeBron. He's using Austin Reeves. He doesn't know the players enough.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He was starting to fire them off with like the centers.
Reeves is a good shooter.
Yeah. Reeves is there too. And they traded that Dalton Connect, of course. So,
yeah.
All righty then. Look, it's we'll see where this market goes. But again, you're still underneath VWAP. We're going to go over, there it is right there. We're going to go over all of the trades that you guys wanted us to based on the rundown. Thank you, everybody, for voting on the midday. And if Ramin gives me a thumbs up, then we can go, yep, that's up. All right, what's up now? Sharif with the rundown.
Oh.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Neil and Sean are ready to go, baby, and ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the order to get the tickers up there, you got to join Joseph and I during the midday and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers. But in order to do that, you got to be a subscriber. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. Here's a look at the triple Qs, guys. We're nicely in positive territory now, 0.88% on the triple Qs. But as you can see, we're well off those pre-market highs. We'll roll off the morning highs as well, so we'll have to see how much we can recover on the triple Qs. Here's a look at Apple. Started the day very strong, really faded like we saw with the overall market. Still positive though, up almost 3.5%, 3 1/3. They're trading higher after the Trump administration announced tariff exemptions for smartphones. That came in to us Friday afternoon, circulated widely on Saturday. Also, this headline came in the morning. Apple tops global smartphone sales with 19% market share, boosted by the iPhone 16e, which was a very popular, guys, in emerging markets.
There you go.
Faded. Yeah, look, we had... I don't know, whatever it is, man. Yeah, whatever, man. Did you say Neil was old? Take that back, Sharif.
Well, it's not untrue.
Oh, okay.
Like that, eh, Sharif?
Trying to defend you, my guy. All right, so yeah, look, we had written down Apple early, man. We like the long. I actually did not even write down any Apple prices on here. I just wrote down that I thought 200 would be a good dip buy opportunity. Well, I mean, we just needed to wait for it. We didn't do anything about it because we were actually waiting for 200 because we were so wrong. We tried. It was okay early. I mean, it was battling. And then basically, as soon as we broke through there, I was saying this trade was probably the right one, the breakthrough 206. And then you never really would have had to look back. I mean, obviously, when we look at it right now, you know, it looks like 206 is going to be in play again. But at the end of the day, it was just downside. It started off so well, right, with all those tariffs and... You know, but at the end, it did get faded. The market was up almost 2% at open. I think it was over 2% at one point. And then as you could see, the way of the Nasdaq was the way of Apple. So they all just kind of fell down there a little bit. So yeah, for me, I like the stock. We had said that we would try to trade this thing long above 200. That's what I was writing on the sticky note all last week. We like the long in the 180s. We like the short around 200. So now we're getting that opportunity. Let's see if we could take advantage of it here and get a dip buy right now. I probably, I mean, I don't know, but I think I will be off of it now until we get back to view up and then we'll make a decision. So for right now, I'm going to try to have to let this one fall down. I feel like we've got a good winner. It's not even on there in Google. It's the only trade that I have. That's the one that I'm trying to push, not push, but that's the one I'm looking at to get short here or to get long is Google, not Apple. But here comes that 206 again. So yeah, the market is a funny thing. You know, it was just well executed there. Apple, big move early and just right back. See, like there's 210. Like no wonder why we got in to some of these levels. There's a good little drop off spot right there, right? So trying to fill this gap. That last close above 210 was 213. So thinking about 213 then, I mean, maybe we'll see if we can, not today, but that would be another level of concern for me, 213, now that we've seen it. So yeah, Apple, good trade. We'll look to get long at 200. Maybe we get that opportunity tomorrow.
I'm starting to look at 207 again, but in the other direction, because I liked 07 for the long. It didn't work out this morning. It was like a 1 for 3. And the last one was a big time reversal. I'm going to get to your super chat here, the real DC, because I think Apple provides an opportunity to talk about this for your executions. So like 207, that was a good level in terms of go back at the 15-minute, liked it, did not hold. On the way back up, I'll be looking for any kind of a reversal. And the Nasdaq's probably trying to cruise through this 19,000 in VWAP itself, and Apple's not there just yet. But is this question here, and thank you for the super chat. New day trader, usually you swing trade. So can you describe the way of getting in and out of trades, i.e. ask versus bid, and what the offset is? So the offset, for anyone that doesn't know, would be if you remove liquidity and cross into the book, like how far are you crossing into the book? For the most part, most positions, I'll just sit bid ask, right? Like if you're trading Mara, you know, you're trying to get short at 12, you know, in front of 13, you probably just sit on the offer at 12.97 or on the offer at 12.98, something very simple. But looking at an Apple, like if I'm crossing in to say take a breakout trade, let's say I wanted a 207 break, like I always try to have a feel for what the spread is. Right now, anywhere from Sometimes it's 4 cents, 5 cents, minimum crossing double that. So like if I'm taking a breakout trade, I'm crossing probably at least 211, 207. I go to like 207.11, 207.12 and go from there. Because you want to make sure that if it's breaking, you're going to be able to get that fill. But on the smaller, cheaper stocks, you probably just bid ask like normal. It adds up if you're always crossing the spread by too much when the stock is giving you more stable entries. Hope that helps a bit. Have an idea of what the spread is on the stock you're trading, and then you can determine how much your offset should be.
All right, guys, Tesla, the other look over here, negative territory for TSLA, down 1.4%. Despite this headline today, so a big over-the-air update for Tesla, bringing new features to the Model 3, S, X, Y, and Cybertruck. Multiple different new features today. So you'll be able to use the side view cameras or the B-pillar cameras, for Sentry mode now that there's been a lot of vandalism. So you can kind of see little quirks like that all over the air updates. Also, a new Cybertruck was announced last week, a rear-wheel drive with some lower range, guys.
You're excited for the new. Oh, not available in Canada. So Sharif doesn't. The new Cybertruck isn't up.
Well, you would never get a real wheel.
Well, here you wouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah.
That's
maybe in California. Maybe in California.
Well, yeah, in Canada you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't want that in the winter here. Obviously, Tesla has a $250 problem right now. Not literally, but you can see what's going on with 250 on Tesla. I don't know why we're throwing the Z's in there, because it's certainly not asleep. It's asleep. The buyers are asleep on Tesla today, but the sellers have been wide awake. And even when the market was kind of looking like we're making some bounces or looking a little bit strong, like Tesla's acceleration was just much faster when we lost the trend here. And unfortunately for Tesla, it just feels as if it's still very much in the penalty box. Every single bounce that we make off of 220, it just keeps getting less and less impressive at this point. And now we didn't get to 280. I think last week people were talking about the death cross. I believe that essentially is happening today if you're into that sort of a thing. It looks like the 50 is crossing that 200 period to the downside unless something drastic happens this afternoon. So not a very good look for Tesla. The 250, if you're trading off of it today, looks like the level that we just curled, the only lower high since we broke trend. And there's that, and then there's VWAP. I know Tesla has had this history of runs in the afternoon, but if it's not above 250, I think you can't be too concerned about that Tesla bull run in the afternoon. And not a very good look for Tesla today. When you're 1.5% down and the market's still up despite the pullback, just shows penalty box, penalty box, penalty box. You will see me, I'm in Ford, and that was mostly because it just held the bull flag and then broke trend. So what played the trend break, like there's Ford. GM did a similar move in the middle of the day. Trump hinted at some tariffs coming off. Or he hinted at auto tariff relief, right? Nothing specific. It essentially broke the trend line, got into the short at 69, 68 change, and giving it to this lower high and bidding out into VWAP. But Tesla, it stinks. I'm still not a buyer again at 220. Nothing has changed for me despite any market bouncing here.
Yeah, for me on Tesla, I mean, I don't know what to do. I just think it remains a great vehicle to day trade, right? And I think if you can get the story right early on Tesla, then this is the kind of reward you can get, right? I mean, we went the opposite way on Apple. I thought it was a long story. It turned out to be a short story. This was a short story all day, right? And so, you had the high there. Come on, Google, do something. You had that, we just got a piece of Google. Here, I'll show you after. 249, anyways, at the end of the day, that was the high, that was the high, that was the high. If you only knew that would be great. I really think the only trade for me that I could have made, because I wasn't looking this way, would have been right there. So once you decide that it's a short, and I'm not even sure if it was a short until about 11 o'clock, because it was bouncing around, right? I mean, this is where we closed on Friday. This was still a positive name all morning until 11 o'clock. And then that happened. So I feel like the only trade was when everything aligned, with the 50. So what I have on here again, 50 period is the pink, then the blue is VWAP, and then the 200. So everything just aligned right there. I've been looking at these charts for a long time. I don't ever consider this like the golden situation or anything, but it did line up right there. Comes back. So for me, forget about all that. It was more the fact that we were at VWAP because look, like nothing held. So you wait for this drop. If anything, you might even consider going long. But then the minute this breaks right there, 255, I think it was a pretty good move to the downside. Rejection off VWAP, then break the previous low. Boom. To me, that's the dynamite trade there. Or you just said, forget about it. The market's going lower here. And there was a couple indications. I mean, we saw Apple. We're about to talk to Meta in a couple seconds. You know, maybe you just thought red. And if you thought that, then Tesla right here was a monster opportunity. And it just goes to show, like, I don't need to be in, or we all don't need to be in of anything until you see something set up. And right there, I feel like that was a great opportunity, and you could have just made your whole day with one trade there on Tesla. All right, now time for Meta, and we'll figure out where we're going with this one and the EU Meta.
All right, first we'll start with the Goldman maintaining their buy on Meta, but dropping the price target around 80 bucks, down from 765, boys into 685, so a bit of a tougher look there. And the start of the FTC trial starts today. So the FTC is claiming the company has monopolized social media and the social media market. Meta says the agency previously blessed Instagram and WhatsApp deals, and they don't really understand why the trial is going forward in any event. Some of the people that are going to be testifying at the trial, Sheryl Sandberg, the former executive VP, and Mark Zuckerberg, obviously the CEO.
Before we get to Meta, and Meta obviously is not having a very good day. If you look at the chart, like Tesla's chart's not good. Meta's chart's not good either. But if you look at the history of pullbacks in Meta, like you have 40% pullback there, and when we pulled back in 2018, and then you had, COVID was a similar type move, and then you had the whole unwind at 2021 where it lost almost 80%. And so right now from the top, we're not that big of a move now. I know it seems like it. It lost 33% almost exactly from peak to trough in the most recent move. But that's historically not even that big for Meta. If you're not having antitrust issues and you're a big cap tech company, then you're doing something wrong. They all have these problems. They all get slaps on the wrist. And when if that ever changes, then I'll care a little bit more about these trials and all that stuff. But for now, it's about where is the bottom coming into Meta. And it was pretty distinct to be able to see in the Mag 7 land today, while it was able to hold on to Friday's lows, that some things were just a little bit less healthy than others. Alphabet is holding much better. Well, it's holding significantly better than Meta. Meta down that 1.7. So I think you're gonna have to be patient with Meta. It's a name that I do want to buy again. I want to buy it this quarter. I said I would wait till earnings, and nothing's really changed in that note unless you get to some of these big levels on the monthly, if it got to 420 or something like that on Meta. But today, just a disappointing name. And this was another one where, if you just looked at when the market was bouncing, I like trend breaks, but this was probably a really good trend break. At the time when this was happening, I was looking at an Intel trend break. Because Intel was, a lot of times you'll look at trend breaks off the highs, but you can look at it on a weak stock too. Market made a low, made a higher low, and then when it pressed into the trend, it lost the trend, and then all of a sudden resistance, and then you had your big continuation to the downside. That's a setup I like. I was staring down one in Intel, which we're out of. Intel's actually at VWAP right now, which has my interest. Because Intel at VWAP in a day where the market's at VWAP, the market loses VWAP, I probably take an Intel short, but the fact that we're pressing higher on the Qs has me patient with it. But Meta, yikes. You're gonna have to wait for earnings to even consider buying this one again for me.
Yeah, for me, it's the same story for every single stock this period. We're going to wait for earnings. We're going to wait for earnings to do anything. I do have very, very low bids on the Nasdaq if we get back to those levels. But that is it for the Nasdaq and everything else on that one. All right, I just wanted to quickly show here Google. I told you we got a couple pieces out right there. So we are getting some out here. We haven't really broken through this 159.50 area. So these are some more outs. It is going to be a $2 winner right here, but we're just waiting for it now. We've made we made our day here on Google, which is nice, and we're going to let that one settle down and hopefully get back up to the upside. I don't actually have any more offers until 159.75, which is where VWAP is. Tariff actually asked me that right down here when we were long, and I was like, my next outs is 159.70. So we actually wound up taking a 159.50, but right now we're not hitting those levels. Don't be stubborn. If your levels don't hit, that's all good. You just wait for it to do so, and we're going to do that in a couple seconds with that. But here you go, Meta. All right, Meta. Meta Eda Ol, say yes, say yes, Chico, what is that thing? Anyways, yeah, something like that. And everybody who's old probably knows what I'm talking about right now. All right, so look, I'm not a buyer. I have tons of this already. I think we want to wait. Like I was mentioning, if we ever get moves down here, I'd rather take the Nasdaq than Meta, just because I'm looking at indexes now, so we'll wait. I don't know. Earnings season might be too late. This thing could really rip and or tank off earnings, but you know what goes up must come down. This EU stuff, just let it all settle down, right? If we get anything around 500, then I think that's a buy. But for me, I'm still holding off. It looks like the ultimate levels will be down here around 440, which is why you always zoom out and have a quick look. So for me here, though, today, what about this break? We're above the 200 period moving average. Meta wants to get going, doesn't it? I mean, that bottom of 528 may not get back over there. 50 period holding, 200 period holding. This looks like a decent break long opportunity for Meta. 535.40. I think we could probably test that long. So that's something I'm looking at. 535, 536 break long here for Meta, especially since the market wants to go. So I like the long here. I think it could work. Meta long through right there, 535.50. I think we'll probably test that.
Oh, Webull, guys, what a fantastic look for this one today. Still up 337% off the highs, though, breaking down now after touching almost $80. So this one did delay. Webull, that is, they delayed their IPO, guys. They were slated to go public back in 2021. They put that on the back burner, and then they actually SPAC'd with a company called SK Growth Opportunities on Friday. It was not really widely received. It didn't have much price action either on Friday. That is, of course, until the aftermarket, guys. It had plenty this morning and plenty during regular market hours today.
Yeah, it's weird because the reason that I'm miffed that I didn't notice it on Friday, like a lot of people, like no one was really talking about it on Friday. So I get it that a lot of people didn't realize that this was happening, but it did halt a couple of times to the downside on Friday. That's what bugs me, because I have a halt scanner up, and the second I saw bull on it, I should have at least been curious about it. But it doesn't really matter. You just don't want to miss out, because I think when you have moves like it did in the afternoon, where it retook that SPAC 10 price, it kind of gives you an interesting opportunity when you have a SPAC that opens up and flushes, breaks 10, and when it regains the $10 level, it's kind of like thinking when an IPO breaks the IPO price eventually. This ended up doing it in the same afternoon. So there was something there if you wanted to take a shot at it with a defined risk. Of course, if you're holding over the weekend, there's nothing completely defined about it because it can gap under your price. But bull, should have had it early, didn't trade it. All I can tell you is it has been holding onto VWAP the entire way up. So even with this pullback of $30 or $22 or whatever it is from the highs and a couple of halts to the downside, it's still well above the volume weighted average price. It's clearly just one of those lowish float squeezes where there's not a lot of shares outstanding. It's churning through them, no problem. And people that are trying to short this are getting chopped up left, right, and center. And I can tell you, locates are cheap. So day traders, when locates are cheap and day traders are like, this is nonsense, they're probably getting blown up trying to short this and find some tops. Now, anybody that shorted, say, like 75, congratulations. But then anybody that shorted 60, boo-hoo. Anyone that shorted, just pick a price. You guys get the idea. I think the volume weighted average price will be interesting here for sure, off that 51 level, see if it can hold on. It would have to halt. Well, it doesn't have to do anything, but if it loses the 50 area quickly, then you'd be passing the halt band on the way back in. So good day for Webull. Congratulations to anybody that was long. This goes to show, like, you always want to make sure you're checking all of your scanners so you don't miss things that are new to market, because usually we would have known about this on a Friday.
Yeah, we should have definitely known about that and probably hit that on Friday. But today, nothing wrong with doing it today if you guys are in that, of course, as well. All right. The other name that was going today is this Fat Pipe. I mean, it does go up from $6 all the way to 11, so that's a double. And then all the way back in. So I would say just watch out for the 200 period moving average. Look at all these halts right in here. If you were part of the first one, then you would have actually lost because it opened up lower and then absolutely ripped. The second one actually opens up higher. Then the third one lower, lower, lower. So we'll wait to see. I feel like if you had bought every single one or sold all of those halts, you would have been okay. This one, you would have got down there, but then a couple minutes later, it does halt back up to the upside of 950, then it goes to 11 and now dropping back to 750. So, you know, just looking at this stock, I don't really think there's too many key levels here. You just got to trade what you know. And I mean, if you're going to use the 200, that would be $7. I'd rather wait for volume to pick in and then start going on this again. So like, that's for me, something that I'd rather look at. So if any of you are into this stock, we'll be yelling and screaming about it when it halts. I'll try to have it up and then we'll get it on that. So Fat Pipe right now, not really on the radar, but definitely one that's been halting. Look for that halt, and then I think we can get in. This could be something that someone tries to run here late. So we definitely want to make sure that we definitely want to look at this into the afternoon period. So that is FAT to the end. So. All right, next one would be Nvidia, a name that I traded and did okay on it. So let's go talk about Nvidia, Sharif.
Yes, sir, Sean. So they obviously got an exemption, microchips that is, as a group got an exemption from Donald Trump late Friday through the U.S. Customs Department. That is, they were going to be exempt from the 145% tariffs that are in place now on China. Separately, Nvidia coming out and announcing that they're going to produce AI tools worth about $500 billion, all in the United States, over the next 4 years. The plan includes American plants operated by Taiwan Semiconductor Foxconn. And this one's a new one for me, guys. Wistron. Never heard of this one.
Wistron.
Yeah, I don't know that either. Wistron?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, that's a new one.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
me
this is
as
the
well.
thing, man. Like, all these new stories keep on hitting us pretty much every day. So, yeah, we'll just keep on watching out for that. But for right now, for me, I think it's pretty simple what we need to do here, and that is just manage our risk, right? And we talk about that every day here on the show, and that's the right thing to do. So right there, we go long off of basically the levels that we wanted, 111. It worked out real well until it didn't. We reloaded it right there at 111, and then we got out once it broke 111. So that's a reload at 111.25. That's an out right there. So a small hit, completely fine. Then we tried it again at 109.50. It did not work. So we wind up getting out. We did take a couple small profits there, but then it drops in and we get in and out right there. It's quick at 109.50. It was actually a mistake. Like I got in there, but I wanted to get a little bit lower. So I had too many shares. So I just got out immediately and then was going to reassess it and never looked back. It looks like that was a great long when you work it out. But at the end of the day, it's not one that I purposely took. So I can't talk about it. But that was a great one, 109. And we had written down on here Nvidia 110 to 111. So the minute was underneath that, it was kind of like I wanted to leave it alone. So we punched in and punched out almost immediately, which kind of sucks because it was 109.50. Never went against myself, and now it would be huge in the money. So anyways, that's trading for you. You're going to make some calls that you wish you had back on, and Nvidia is one of those. So I always say trade the best names, and I just feel like Nvidia is the best one. There's going to be opportunities in Micron and Intel and all that, but for me, I've made the most money on Nvidia, so I stay there. And then maybe Intel would be my second play, but I'm not on that today.
Well, I was on the aforementioned Micron and Intel. Let me just use a E-signal chart for the weekly on Nvidia there, because our split chart in P Pro 8 they don't have the adjust the splits. What's looking really good for Nvidia is on a week. There's a weekly chart, not a daily chart. Everybody, just so you know, because on the daily chart there was that whole death cross thing. That's why you're not seeing it. But on the weekly, very bullish bounce play last week for Nvidia, and you're starting a little bit of continuation here above, like the week close was at 111. Sean was mentioning. So any close, I mean, we're there right now. So it's kind of a critical point. But every time we close above that price, it's kind of confirming the top end of the range from last week on Nvidia there. So you're having right now a nice little rebound. That's going to be the key close price all week, I do think. But I was on Micron And I'm starting to think Micron potentially in the other direction because we're pulling back into 72. Didn't work, didn't work, did work, didn't work, didn't work, right? So I was like 2 for 6 on Micron, but I like Micron to the long today, so I was going to be wrong on it. I decided not to flip this. We ended up in an Intel short, which I already showed you guys. But this 72, which was buy support early, is now the volume weighted average price. So VWAP sits at 72. The prior support was at 72, which makes it a nice key price on the way back up here. With the Nasdaq currently taking out the volume weighted average price at 19, Micron has a chance to get back on the schneid, let's call it, above that 72 level where the resistance has been all day long. And then just very quickly, because it happened, and it wasn't worth interrupting or anything, but I had an order still sitting out there on Pfizer from when I had got wicked out of the trade, and so I had left it sitting when I tried to get right back in at the same price I got out at. I was just sitting there at 03. I had left it in there, got in, got out at the same price. I wasn't intending on just blindly sitting at VWAP on the stock, but that's why you see me in and out flat of Pfizer right there. So we're done the rundown. As you see, the Nasdaq is going. IBIT is holding on. It broke out VWAP, the volume weighted average price, and it's holding above it. So I'm long this one above VWAP, and obviously Mara, which is right at resistance underneath 13. There's another name that I was in when the whatever Fed name guy was just randomly saying a few negative things or positive things about the economy and ramped things up, and it came right back in. Market just thinks that every headline must be Trump related, and so therefore if there's like a positive comment, they just assume it's going to be something tariff related, and we just ramped upside. Well, 13 even is my out, but I'm going to hold and try to add to IBIT. I like this IBIT long. And the other name I was trading at lunch was Walgreens, and Walmart. Walmart off VWAP, which I took out at the high of the day. Walmart's now at 95. So next available dip on Walmart, we like the long. It's been up and upward trending the entirety of the day. Not many charts look like that. Up 2 points to the market's 1. And Walmart as well. Whoops, that also has a little bit of a split here. Walmart as well, breaking the 50-period moving average here on the daily. So I like the move here in Walmart. Want to participate again in the long. I'll look for a dip into the morning high, which is about 94.6.
All right, let's just go. We're reloaded, obviously, there on Google, as we've talked about a couple of times, and we'll take some more outs right now in the 70s. So we actually wind up getting exactly, Sharif has got out of here, but props up, as we brought this up on the midday that we were getting long, and we told them our out was hopefully going to be VWAP. So there comes VWAP. As we said, man, it's now over $2 now in the money. We'll wait to see if IBIT can work. Ford, Mara, this is the only name that I have, and I've only traded 3 names today. I was going to get back into Nvidia at some point here, especially if we drop back in just a little bit. There was another name that I liked long, and I can't remember now what it was that we had talked about. Was it Tesla? If that fell back in? No, Tesla's been down today, so if anything, that would be right there. There was something else that was starting to break that I was thinking about. Tesla, whoa, it was Meta. I want to look. I mean, now it's, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but right there, if Meta can, yeah, that's right. If Meta can break 235.50 is what we are looking at. So just watching out to see what the market's doing. EU Trade Commissioner now is in, all right, so just in Washington. So that might be good. That might be a nice talk here for the market about going long, but that's okay. At the end of the day, we're here on Google waiting to see if we can get an extension on this name. The other name that we liked was Robinhood at 43. I haven't looked at that pretty much until, well, we looked at it in the morning, but we haven't looked at it since. So there was, yeah, so wow, I guess for me, just learning this right now, looking at this now, we had Robinhood marked down at 43 long. There was some garbage there. We would have lost if we were here. Fortunately, I guess, we were not here when this had broken right there, but there's 43. It only broke it for a minute and it went down to 42.50. So yeah, again, like you don't think it's gonna happen and then it does. So nice little downside pressure put on this name there, Robinhood, as we get back into $42, $43. I'm still looking at like, I don't know, trying to find some levels here for Robinhood. You're still up. What is the market? Market's at highs. Oh boy, we have Google, which is going, that's fine, but I feel like we're gonna need something else at some point. So let's just wait here to see if we can get Robinhood. back to VWAP, but that's it's not good enough. So what I'm trying to do now, let me check out Palantir. I want to, because we're going to break VWAP, and I think it might be the first time all day, right? That we're going to look at VWAP, not all day, but since that first initial, that first initial drop off right there. So yeah, this could be something to look at right now. The Nasdaq is up. Okay, I'm feeling like a little bit mixed on what I want to do here, because see this is at a good level here to maybe short the market, to be honest with you. We don't have too many earnings coming out. What's up, Skull? No, I do everything, man. I do breakout trades, but today on Google, we had marked down that we were not going to take this 160 break right there and wait for that pullback. So there it goes breaking. There's the dip and break. And then here we wrote down 157 for Google, right? But we did have a couple trades that were, you know, dip buy opportunities today. The problem with breakouts today, and that's why I was going over to Palantir, we took a $10 runner on this one when it broke 70, when it was down there and ripped up to $80 again. So I think I'd rather play breakout trades, especially in the afternoon. We had a great trade on Palantir on Friday when it dipped in and we were longing off of some key levels. But I'm not going to take any breakouts until we break something key. So it has to be VWAP. It has to be something like that. So I just say to you, Skull, what were you looking at there in the chat when you mentioned that? Because I am looking for some trades, and I'd love to put something on right now that is not a dip buy, that maybe is a break. And if anything, man, it might just be the futures. Like, it's looking like the market might want to do something right now. So you could break long on this, use 50 sort of as your stop. So that's what I'm debating, and I think I might just put that on right now, back into 50 a little bit. Let's put on like half a unit here at 20 if we can get it. Then we'll try to fill that up a little bit if we get back just a bit. So I'm going to try to buy some 20s. We just need to fill up there. I'm bidding something that pays. Okay, so there it is. So now we're long right there on the Nasdaq. Kind of a breakout trade here, right? Just trying to think it can break through VWAP and start to go back upside. So my out for this will be somewhere around here, man. 59s and change. So we'll look, sorry, 49 and change. 49.80 is where the 50 period is. Lots of room to run on this one. Let's give it a couple seconds to breathe. So for me right now, TQ's long, looking to average it in. And then we don't want to screw up too much, out around 49.75. We'll see if it wants to work. There goes Robinhood on it.
Yeah, that's a break. Oh,
we'll see.
Oh, Robinhood?
Robinhood's starting to go now.
I keep
candle.
wanting to adjust where I want to sell some SoFi. I feel like today is one of those making me want to. Well, I'll get to that a little bit later. Oh, position board just went.
Oh.
I just noticed that. Okay, yeah, they're working on the position board, everybody. No, I actually still like, I'm not taking the breakout at 95 on Walmart. I'm still looking for the dip back in the previous high. Just love the trend on Walmart. It's been a good one. You were talking about Costco, just for posterity. I mean, you know, like I acknowledged, I said, oh, Walmart's one of the strongest looking charts out there. It's been an upward trend. Well, Costco's at the high of the day and up 2 points just as well. Just not usually going to look at Costco when we're day trading. And I was in another retailer. I was in Nike on a trend break. Nike's trying to break back above VWAP, but distinctly different. Like, it's up what's weird, it's up 2% as well, but not nearly as strong. Like, one of these things is not like the other. Nike tried to go all morning, reverse with the rest of the market. For whatever reason, Walmart is deciding that it wants to be at that high of the day. So that's what I like for a dip buy. CompuCare team asking about Amazon. I'll admit, I haven't. So Amazon, Meta, Tesla, they all have this similar look where you're getting this nice rebound. You just saw the Qs breaking through VWAP. And these ones are all hanging out just relatively weak, down 1.5%. They don't look very strong right now. I think if you're looking for, if the market got to the high, what would I want to short? Well, any one of these things that hasn't broken the volume weighted average price. Like, if we get back to the high, these names, the Amazons, the Metas, and Tesla is an example of that as well. You could be either at VWAP or just barely above it. Either way, you'd be putting in a lower high when the market's at the top. I put those into that bucket, CompuCare team, but for right now, I'm looking to join back into a Walmart long. And I just like that prior high. Like, I'm looking for a dip. You could even get a failed break of 95. Like, it just goes through the even dollar, can't really break through. A bunch of people punch long, and then it pulls back a little bit, and I can get picked up. Right now, I'm waiting in front of 60 because I want to give it to the morning high and that little dip buy that we have at 94.5. But on a failed break, I could easily change that. For everyone that's still looking at Webull, I thought it was headed to VWAP. It halted down and was like $5 away from the volume weighted average price. It reopened, and it's exactly where it was when it reopened. Like it's moved up and down a few bucks here or there, but it's just going sideways after a halt down, which is telling you something about the staying power of Webull. Usually, you get this kind of a move, there'd be a little bit more, I guess, trepidation in the longs, but somebody's buying it up here at 58 and feeling pretty comfortable. I would have played maybe looking for a bounce off VWAP. That's just the style I would prefer to look for on Webull. Ryan Barrel, what do I think of Ford? Ford's one of those binary plays for me. I simply just took a trend break on Ford, and it's either it breaks the high or it pulls back into VWAP. It's going sideways. Like there's just no, like I like the setup when we get them. It's the same setup that we took, that I took anyways in Intel on a trend break. It's the same setup Nike had one as well. I took Ford, and Ford's not going anywhere. So I'm not moving my orders, not moving my stop. If it breaks out that lower high, I'm jumping out of it. If you were talking about the long term, then I still I don't love Ford, but it is worth mentioning it's going to close above the 50 period if it were to close right here. So a little bit of a recovery in Ford. Sometimes stock like this, it's like it's done enough of the selling. But even if that's true, the 200 period has been the resistance, not the 50 on Ford since middle of the last quarter of last year. Like when it broke underneath, this has been the wall. It's been that 200 period moving average. So I think you run into trouble here in Ford at 10.5, and I don't like it in the long term anyways. Even if I was looking for bottoms, this isn't the place I'd be looking for it.
40, yeah, looking to see if something SMR could possibly be breaking out. So we just took the, same old trade here. This is our newest trade, so we'll just hit sirens up because it is a new one at least, and we don't have enough shares. We're waiting for a dip buy opportunity to get more on this name, so we'll just relax and wait for it. I do have an offer up here at 33s just to get something out. I don't know, take 15 cents or so on it. Okay, well, here it comes. All right. We'll take a win, right? There it goes. So there's the buy at VWAP. There's a nice move up. So, I'm not, like I said, it's just, for me, light, but still a good trade, right? And this is what we talked about. Other people's light trades would be other people's heavier ones, and you could take it for however you like it, right? So right there, TQs, we talked about its skull and everything breaking forward. I sort of scanned through just a handful of stocks, didn't really see anything that I liked that was matching the opportunity that I thought we had right here. So again, if VWAP's going to be $50, we should take 13, 15, 16 pennies here as we go up and just sort of take away some of the risk of it falling back in here. It's 243. We have a lot of opportunity here this week. It's going to be a decent week for earnings. TTV Research, I'm going to call it up right now, and we can look at this together. MP Materials we're hearing right now. I'll do that. I just wanted to look at what Adair had put together for earnings. But MP Materials right here is starting to go up 28 bucks. So again, we talked about rare earth. We talked about where that play might be. And there it goes up today. I'm going to assume this is a rare earth metals play, but nice move upside there as President Trump over the weekend was talking again about plays similar to this. So there it goes. Not specifically, but talking about rare earth. So here we go. Nice moves upside right now in MP up 24%. You zoom out and you see it's really breaking out. So right there, broke through that 27. I think it's a long now, but that long's been activated. So nice move here as we continue to go higher on MP. $29 is where we've been. That's where I'd sell this. We've already hit up there before, maybe 28, 28.50. Nice move there for MP. Starting to go, broke off the 50 period. Good job there. Anybody that has that, you just got to keep your ear to the ground, right? Some of these trades are just handed to you by some of the weekend news. So good look there by MP, whoever has that one, as it's continuously going here today. MP Materials, nice upside play, assuming it's one of those rare earth metal plays.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure.
No, it is rare earth, and it was the president. I don't know if it might have been the administration over the weekend discussing a potential stockpile reserve. I don't know. They might have said stockpile or reserve, one of those two. I think they probably said stockpile, but continuation play for sure here on MP, and a great look. The volume is the story. The biggest volume candles of the day. You want to see that on any kind of an upward play. Said we'll be in tomorrow. But if it breaks 13, I'm out. I'm still looking for dip buy. I shouldn't say I'm now looking for dip buy. We're already trying to grab a dip buy on IBIT for a reload. Benton C saying Chamath. That's a Chamath play, MP?
Get out immediately.
Like it's a play, or what he called it, or he bought it. Like that's what I would like to know. There's a difference between like, oh, did he, like he could have been involved with it. This isn't a SPAC, but I'm saying he could have been involved with something as a SPAC. You could be involved in it because you bought it. You could be involved in it because you said it. I'm always curious as to which one you mean by that. One thing I really love about Kathy, well, I shouldn't say love, but respect is a better word than love, about Kathy Wood is I can just go to the site and know what she feels about something. Because I go to Kathy's ARC, and it's like she bought this here, and she sold this there, and she bought,
Yeah.
Yeah, which I like. But when someone tells me it's a Chamath play, I have no idea. I don't really know what that means. Did he recently call it as a bull mark? I don't know. So, yeah, just let me know for sure what you mean about that. I have no idea whether he's buying it or selling it. So, yeah. Not that you ever want to buy it and sell things based on someone else's recommendation necessarily at the end of the day. His SPACs did interesting. Let's leave it at that.
All right, yeah. Again, that's...
Let's leave 2 weeks.
Okay, so President... Oh, yeah, I wanted to actually...
I was trying to find the story. I had the story for the rare earth metal thing.
Oh, okay.
With the Trump, but I couldn't... Like, I swear I was looking at it this morning, and then I was trying to pull it up to see if they said specifics on what they would buy when, but I couldn't find it. So hopefully I'll be able to get that to you. Because I think that regardless of what Chamath says, at the end of the day, like anything that, let's just say that the U.S. determines is going to be important for their national security, for their supply chain, I think you want to take it at face value, right? So if they're saying we're going to buy this and we want to have more rare earth metals and want to secure that, then I think you take it at face value. So like that side of it, I respect.
All right. I just wanted, yeah. I mean, same way. I mean, we gotta take what the government's giving us. Pay those taxes as well. All right, so today, right, I mean, this is where we start to get really interesting. We've already had the pre-market, right? So we have Applied Digital tonight, so we can take a look at that chart, have a quick look. I mean, it should be okay. We'll wait for tomorrow, though, where we get, again, more banks, and then we get Johnson & Johnson coming through. And then it's over here, ASML, which should give us a little bit of a look at some of the chip names and see where the health is in that space, if there is any health at all. We'll have a look there on ASML and see if how those factories are doing. Abbott Labs, so, we're into some different spaces now, not just the banks, right? So as we continue to watch out for this next round of earnings, they're here right now. This should be another big week heading into next week, which is obviously even bigger. Then the Super Bowl comes the week after that, where they all sort of pile in. And then that's where we get the answers from stocks like Meta and Microsoft and all of that. But Netflix is right there as well, a super strong stock that's been doing well with the streaming wars. And we just saw how popular the Masters was. I think live sports, definitely the thing. And Netflix there with WWE and some of the levers that they have to pull still. Tons of cash there with Netflix. TSMC is what we're also looking at right there. Taiwan Semi coming in pre-market on Thursday, along with United Health, which has been hot fire. And then I really like AXP, so... that could be another name as we continue to wait for the next opportunities. But there it is. Thank you to Adara again. And I always tell her that. And all the hard work that she's been putting in to make these infographics. So make sure you guys all take a quick look. If you do have a second, check out our infographics. And thanks, Adara, for doing that. And there's even now a couple other ones that she's done. So today I have no idea what any of these guys look for, except for my guy right here. We talk all the time. But today was, what was it? Barkin? Waller today, so there it is. Yeah. Christopher Waller in the building as well.
Well, they were all there, but...
just some of the comments that we were trying to focus on earlier. But yeah, so if you're looking for, again, like I've never seen anything like this put together, so thanks, Adara. All their like LinkedIn pictures here, it looks like, but that's just absolutely fantastic. So all in one spot, thanks, Adara.
Notice...
Yeah, go ahead, tell me, yeah.
No, if you just, thanks for zooming back in there. Like, notice how, like, Jerome just can't smile, man.
That's a smile.
Like, he's smirking. That's not a smile.
No, that's about as good as it gets.
Look, my homie Neil Kashkari.
Yeah,
he's smiling, which he probably has a lot of ducats to be smiling.
Daly's not smiling too much. Is that a smile?
Way too serious.
What is that? Is that
that's a half smirk at best. At best.
This is kind of like a smile. You see, it's kind of like angled
he's
there.
Fighting it. He's fighting it.
Yeah, he's fighting it.
He's waiting until
definitely fighting.
waiting until afterward. Then he can do like the book tours, and that's the happy stuff.
No, he came into this very, very rich.
But he get more rich after when you start hitting the rounds.
Yeah, how much rich can you?
I would imagine. I don't know. Like it's kind of like being
Get on that
president.
golf course, my guy. We
make a little bit more. Oh, go ahead.
No, we just got a nice little reload there on the TQs. No idea what just happened there. But now we finally have a little bit of a position on. So, okay, here we go. Nice trade there on the futures. We're long at 50-10. So, asking you shall damn well receive sometimes. And there it goes. Where's my guy Sharif? Okay, he's not here, so I'm going to steal his word. This is frickin' wicked right now as you go higher and higher and higher. That's Sharif's new word, by the way, frickin', I noticed. I'm going to have to ask him about that word.
He doesn't curse?
Where did he get that from? But there it is. Nice move upside there on the TQs. So boom goes the Dynamito. And we did talk about that. That is not Spanish for dynamite, I don't think. But as Fabian's like,
how do you
what
know?
the hell's going on? Well, if it is, then that would be.
I don't know. My first year Spanish didn't cover that at university. I can tell you that. However, that educational note in this portion of the show brought to you by our friends at ProfitX, because if you want top tier odds and total control, ProfitX brings you peer-to-peer picking, open AI access for automation, which is a valuable tool when you're playing those spreads. It's cost-efficient trading of your bets all in one place. It's like day trading your favorite stocks. Make offers, match plays, and manage risk with diverse prediction options. Don't just place your picks, exchange them, trade them. ProfitX is a smarter and faster way to play. Use the code TRADERTV to get the sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300, and hopefully some people put some money on Rory instead of our boy Lopez. I don't even know his first name. You were saying never bet against the Russian guy. I saw the
I tried to tell people that.
I saw the replay of the fight while I was working out Saturday morning, and I was like, our guy was favored. I was like, really? He didn't really look like he should have been favored. But anyways, shout out to ProfitX.
Shout out to Joe.
We're in the heart. I mean, playoffs are starting right now. Basketball, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. Go Leafs. Go Leafs, go. So IBIT bouncing off VWAP. I have one more offer in front of resistance at 48.33. As we're trying to go higher. Market's really trying to break this one out here. So let's go, and let's also go to the desk with Adara. Go Celtics.
As we wait, Power Hour here, only, I guess, roughly 5 minutes to go till Power Hour begins. Be aware, we do have Donald Trump, President of the United States, set to welcome the Ohio State football team to the White House to celebrate their championship win. So be aware, Donald Trump on watch. That stream initially was scheduled to start at 3 p.m. Looks like the Associated Press stream is scheduled to start at 3:15, so he might be a little bit late. But regardless, Donald Trump and the Ohio State University at the White House. Stay tuned. We know that any Q&As that may come could always lead to some potentially market-moving information, and back to you.
So I guess it was
I have
pretty
love
close
for the
there.
Big Ten, but I'll tell you right now, John Gruden, like, he did his little quarterback interview thing, and the Ohio State quarterback, Howard, he sits there trying to compare him to Josh Allen. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like John Gruden, I have a lot, he knows his stuff, but it's just so ridiculous. Why? Because he has the same height and weight as Josh Allen, and he can run a little bit.
And the thing is, where was Josh Allen drafted? What number?
Well, look, Allen was a late, he was after 13?
I thought it was maybe 20.
So Allen at the beginning of the process, people were calling him he's probably only like a second, third round pick based on potential.
Right.
But then teams started to look at and see like the physical traits and just the nature of the draft that year. Like a lot of quarterbacks went high. There was like 5 guys.
Like of course Josh Rosen, of course, the all-star Josh Rosen.
But this is not that kind of draft. Like nobody thinks this is that kind of a talent level draft.
There's only one.
Howard
Cam Ward is the only guy.
Howard's like the 5th or 6th guy in there. And I think you get lazy comparisons. You'll see this a lot where like a guy has the same height, weight, and he quote unquote looks the same. You know what I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden that makes him a similar prospect. It's just lazy. Like that kid, the running back, Scatterborough, like you just get, everyone calls him Toby Gerhart because of his skin color. And I'm like, get out of here. He's his own player, man. The guy plays like David Montgomery. So what difference does it make that he doesn't look like David Montgomery? That's who he plays like. He plays like Damian Pierce. I like that kid. Pierce didn't work out, but... No, if you see Scatterborough, I think he's going to be a good dynasty pick. But anyways, I hate lazy comparisons, John Gruden, but shout out to OSU.
John
I
Gruden,
always like the Big Ten, so.
So I listen to a lot of stuff with Barstool Sports. John Gruden now works with Barstool Sports. Shout out to my guy, Davey Daytrader. Got to get that guy on. Or I'd love to go on his show there, but those podcasts are quite nice. I don't know if you listen to any Barstool stuff, but I like Barstool. Okay, so Google still... Guess who I saw on Friday? Max was here. So what's up, Maximilian? And then my guy, if you are still watching, I mean, I sent him the message here. I guess he doesn't check Google Chat too much. Open image and new chat here. My paisan was in the building. Yeah. There it is right here. It's Big Patty Ice. And guess what he brought me and my father? These are some tomato plants. So right there, man, I mean, this is what Italians do, my guy. So he brought me the tomato plants. He goes, let me guess you have a garden. I almost slapped him. I was like, of course we have a garden right there. But there it is, man. One handsome Italian and me right there. So shout out to you, my guy, Patrick, if you are still around or watching. He says he watches all the time. By the way, that's his F-150. And there it is right there. Nice little tomato plant. So thank you.
Kind of him.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you to Patrick right there.
Yeah, he came by giving gifts for like, oh, thanks so much. Like, he's really sweet. And you know what? That dude is dedicated. The discipline. Like, he's been doing like the no sugar thing.
Yeah.
No sugar, no alcohol for a while. Like, which I admire because I don't like. I'm somewhat disciplined, but I'm not that disciplined. Can't get me off sugar completely. Shout out to Patty Ice.
Yeah, but there it is. What's up, Brandon and everybody else there that are the gardening bros. Yeah, I like to garden. We got the zucchinis growing like...
Canadians do love their garden.
These zucchinis get fat pipes around my house, those zucchinis, man. Wow. I am a big fan of that. There's nothing better than... I like grilled zucchini. Little bit of olive oil, put it on the barbecue. Me and Randy were talking, man, the barbecue about to get all fired
my daughter
up.
To eat it.
I'm fired up, you fired up. That's what my daughter says. She's like getting ready. She's like, I'm fired up, you fired up. Yeah, I'm fired up. There's a whole thing there. Man, it's too bad. She has a tournament in Brampton to end the season. And then, so her season stops on Saturday, on Sunday, hopefully on Sunday if they can play in the final game. And then Monday she has tryouts. For next year, for her next year's team. But she already got the offer, so we're all good on that one. So, all right, so we'll say what's up to Patrick if you are watching there in the chat, my good friend. All right, so TQ's there, 50.25. So we already got some out on the way up. We're still holding a majority of this position. There's no doubt about that. We are, that's what I meant to do. We were going to set our stop, and we already did that. So now the stop was always going to be the 50-period moving average, but I'm going to give it a little bit more. Breaking through 90. So we got to break through this frickin' level right there, 40. I'm never going to say that again. I'm saying it to mock Sharif, but...
Isn't that from...
I'm thinking about putting a tariff on that word for him. I don't really... You guys like that word?
So Austin Powers, right? Like, because that's what Dr. Evil says.
Yeah. I don't know, if they like it, it's fine. We can keep it around, but otherwise. What's up, Adam DeLuz, everybody else out there? Yeah, let's shine the bat signal to everybody that you get the, I don't want to do the Illuminati. I don't want to give it away. But I want to shine it to everybody there because we've already sort of signaled that we are now long the market. Obviously, we've got a great little long here in Google, which is now props up to everybody here. It is a... Google right now, infinitely the best stock here, just absolutely ripping now over $2. In some money on that one, but we're waiting. So we've, again, the only thing that I've been doing here today in the afternoon was just put on this futures trade, and it is dangerous. It's not moving. There's nothing really happening. We are barcoding. If you do take your camera out and take this, this barcode will send you directly to Trader TV Live's website where you can sign up for our watch list, and you can see it right there on your screen. It's better to scan that QR code on your screen. Grab the best watch list industry-wide. Not only that, it's also 100% free. So make sure you do grab that ASAP. We're doing everything for free on this side. So
exactly.
Just let us know if there are any questions there. Dinamita.
We're fun. Don't worry, Airy Pages. It's all say no to the Illuminati and to the Freemasons. Don't worry. We're more about the Bilderbergs here. We just get our membership to the Bilderberg group, and then we're good to go. So I'm not worried about the Illuminati.
Letting everybody know, as Neil talking about that.
What? Who? Nobody. What?
I was sworn not to say anything.
There was a crazy...
There goes the futures.
One of the rumors about the Bilderberg was that there was a meeting where like a prominent Canadian businessman, and this is not Justin Trudeau that he chewed out. It was one of the former prime ministers at the meeting, and he publicly was chewing out the PM. I won't say any names.
Yeah, it was bad.
And it was like, yeah, and apparently the stuff that goes on there is interesting. Bull is off on a run. It doesn't seem like it wants to get to that volume weighted average price. So Bull picks up again, just got to 66, a bit of a trend. Actually, it didn't even, probably not, it's actually not breaking that trend line, if anything. Here, why is my tool there? It's attempting to break the trend just now, but I don't really like, I don't use trend lines for stocks like this because it's way too whippy. And if you, from what I've found at least, like the first 2 times that I was using trend lines on this type of stock, I'm not talking about a small cap gapper. I'm talking about things that are adjacent to Newsmax or HKD. You put them up and then just see how it would go, and the executions are just disgusting. You couldn't actually trade off of it. So for the record, I would never trade off of this trend line hold, but it is trying to break this trend line. I just found that they're completely useless on stocks like this because there's no execution strategy that I would find that would work with it. IBIT is trying to hold on. You're basically getting, here, like so you guys can see, there's a nice little consolidation above VWAP on the Nasdaq. And so you're getting a consolidation breakout on IBIT off VWAP. So we'll just look to play continuation, dip into VWAP. Hopefully we get some higher lows into the high of the day, which is 48.75, probably like 80, probably like 86.5 or something like that on Bitcoin if you're following along that way. So I'm going to buy the next available dip there. And Walmart doesn't seem to want to give us anything. It is just lazily going up here on Walmart. Slowly sliding, no crazy move, just slowly sliding. What's jokes?
No, I just looked at you. I counted how many symbols. You had 13 today. I was just looking at myself. I was like trying to find some different opportunities.
Well, you have to, so here's, and I'll show you exactly why.
Because I hate being bored sometimes, but I don't feel I'm bored.
When I look at, like if I have a plan of action, 4 stocks. Well, I like Apple long. Apple wasn't a long, so that's out the window. You know, I like,
early.
What's the other one? Micron, so that doesn't go. But then if you like mean reverts, which all of the best trades this week, this month, well, this week's today, last week, this month, for me, have been like those mean reversion plays. So I look to take those types of plays. Now, ultimately, sometimes what's crazy about this is usually, and I'll show you an example here, because like a lot of times, these are the ones that look the coolest, where you have it trending up and it breaks down. But what I'm finding, the more I look at these, those aren't the ones that are the best. Like the best mean reversions are if it's an upward trending stock and then it makes a high in the morning and then it trends back. This is not the best example of this. Walmart's what I have up, but it's not the best example of this. But it trends down and then breaks the trend. And now you're looking long because it was trending down after being in an uptrend, and then you're looking for that hold of the trend line to hold VWAP as well. There was better examples of this last week that I can't think of any charts for, but I find those are, why they're better is because you're going with the trend on the reversal. But those are the trades that I like. Like I have a one and done on Nike. We had a one and done on Nike when it broke the trend line here. So clean entry, our stop goes there, follows through all the way to the morning low. And those are the ones that came back and then we made money on during lunchtime. Ultimately, you can't be in every single one. It's not doing anything now on Nike, so I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Tesla's trying VWAP, but I feel I'll stick to IBIT. I came in liking an IBIT long at 83,000, and we obviously never got anywhere near to 83,000, which is somewhere down around here on IBIT, but it's holding VWAP. It's got a good pattern on it. We'll see if we can buy the dip at VWAP and be patient with it for sure. Bongzilla, 45-degree angle and whatnot. I actually don't, unless you're in a stock, 45-degree angle sucks.
Huh. Yeah.
Because like if you're in it and riding the trend, it's great. But if you're looking to get into a stock and it's doing that 45-degree angle stuff, it doesn't really provide you with any entry strategy. Walmart, I guess you're talking about Walmart, or must be, because that's a complete 45-degree angle. I find when Palantir does this.
Ooh. Nimrod is in the building.
Those are the ones. Oh, Nimrod again. Shout out to you, Nimrod.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nimrod, for all of that.
10 memberships.
Yeah, he did that on Friday at the end. Thank you so much, Nimrod, for that. And You're located in India, I thought, isn't it, Nimrod? Let us know in the chat. I'd love to give you a shout out and all of that things. No, I was just looking because I like to see, like, so Sharif today, WTF, MP, MicroStrategy, Fat Pipe, and Bull. So USAR. I just looking to see like what's maybe moving, if something that we missed. And so that's why I was saying shout out to the guys on the midday show for sure, because a stock like an MP or something, we're always, all of us are looking for names that are actually moving around and to get some ideas. So we had gone through maybe the idea of even not a scoreboard with the numbers on it, but like the stocks listed to what we trade. Right now, our after show, our midday show that shows the position boards and whatnot is down. So that you can't get that. So that's why I was just wanting to look to see what was going on. Oh, there it is. Israel and Dubai. Shout out Nimrod right there. So are we pronouncing that right? Because Nimrod, I'm not sure. I think Sharif says Nimrood would be Ruda, but we just go with Rod. But at the end of the day, thank you so much for all of those memberships, man. It means a lot to us there. And, just to keep the community alive. And you can sponsor us by $5 a month. So thank you so much for that. And again, it just goes back. We did talk about it. There's some big, huge changes coming. You guys are going to be impressed. Like,
wow, we saw like
I didn't even think we were going through all the changes that we were, but the big boss has stamped quite the invoice. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one there.
Impressive.
All right. Okay, bang. Oh, by the way, what are we even talking about? We're doing all this. There it is, man. The only trade that I have on, first of all, Google right now is 1, 2, trying to get 3 right now, but we'll give you another one, which is more importantly, Travolta's like, enough of this. Where's Travolta? Oh no, my Travolta's not working. Oh no, my Travolta's not working. Okay, then we'll get rid of that. All right, there goes Google, nicely cooking to the upside. But this is what we're talking about right now. We said the futures is going to be in our toolbox, and it is. This is not seeing the future. This is trading the future. And there it goes, man. Back to the future we go. As there goes the market, man. This is the trade that we have on. We were doing it for you this morning. We're doing it for you this afternoon. As the hour of power has arrived, and we say do something right there. And there it goes. Huge move. Honestly, this is a great move for the futures, right? I mean, we'll take this. We bought the VWAP trade, and there it goes right there to the upside. We stay true to who we are and boom it right there on the TQs. That's what we're doing, man. This is why I'm saying, my bad. I've traded 4 symbols today. Apple, Google, Nvidia, and the TQQs. We put it on the board, and we say shout out to Hawk Harrelson, and yes, right there, because that's what we're talking about. It's a nice move. It's a face slapper right there, and there goes the market. I hope you're long with me here, as there goes the futures, nicely cooking now to the upside. Damage being done right now on the futures, so we'll just stay here and chill, man. We talked about the barcode. We talked about why we like the long, breaking through VWAP. We had the 50-period moving average. At the end of the day, we're in the building, and that's what we're talking about. $2.50 in the money on Google, 60 cents right here. So if you missed me early, you definitely got me late. And there it is, man, a nice run there for the TQs. I'm sure IBIT also going now to the upside as well. Someone else, did you hit the slapper?
I didn't hit a button. I missed it.
No, it's all good. I like that slapper because that's what it is, man. This is a slapper.
No, this is the one.
Yeah, you got some slappers. You got the IBIT slapper.
No, that's the bad one. No, IBIT's doing the same thing the market is doing. Obviously,
boom.
The Nasdaq and Bitcoin have a bit of a correlation. No, I hit the wrong
this one. Oh no, that's not the right one.
No, this is the one. That's the right one.
Yeah, no, but this is the one where I have the watch.
Okay. It's a cool magic trick. I mean, ultimately, if you have the ability to just switch. We saw a magician over the weekend. My daughter was in love with magic right now. He didn't.
I can make my net disappear real quick.
Cool one. But what I found was it was just at like this farm up north for an Easter thing. Mm-hmm. So he did a lot of stuff that you buy from a magic store, which for the adults it's like kind of configure out every single one of them. But the kids loved it. He was really good with the crowd. But the cool thing about the correlation that you have right now with Bitcoin and with the Nasdaq is it gives you a bit of like a leading indicator, a lead. Like if I look over at my Qs chart, which I have up here, and I start to see like any kind of quote levitation or deceleration, I can make a decision over there on IBIT. And certainly right now it's going to be holding up here. It's a little frustrating with Walmart because I said I wouldn't take a breakout. And then ultimately, like if you took a 25 break, it just sat there doing nothing for 20 minutes and then now it's going. So like, clearly it would have worked, but I don't think that's what you're looking for in a breakout trade. Do you think it's reasonable for Apple to make it to 250, says Johnny Appleseed? Oh, never mind. Anytime soon, you said. Well, what's your definition of soon? Because there's no definition of soon. Like I don't think we're getting to 250 any reasonable time soon. But I would assume soon would mean like at least what, before they report earnings? When does Apple report? I mean, it's got to be coming up, but definitely nowhere close. I don't think you get there before you report earnings. I don't think any of these names are out of the water. You can talk all you want about this little exemption, but it's just a single step, and we don't even know how things are going to play out. Feel as if we get news one way or the other every other day. So I don't think we're getting there anytime soon. If you're talking about the back half of the year, you can sign me up for that. I think Apple's going to get back to 250. I personally don't think anytime soon. That's just me. I still think we're not out of the woods. That's all.
I would like Apple to get back to.
I'd love it.
250. I think I'm probably with you on, if we get back there. If we get back there by the end of the year, for sure. It's hard to see these with polarized glasses here, but the futures are starting to go back up to the upside, so we like this trade right there, especially Google now too. Like we've been building some red flowers and potting some red roses there as we continue to go upside, but right now Google just continues to work higher. These today it's a banger for me. It's luckily. We say the word luck, but at the end of the day, if you continue to do something, it's not really too lucky, and we've just been patient. And I think that we were waiting for the TQs. We had written, all right, hold on a second. Let me read this. TQQ 48 long. Well, maybe I didn't write that, right? So let me just go over here to the sticky note and have another look at this, of course. Let's see what we wrote down here for the TQ. Andre, how's it going? Good, not too bad. Thanks, my guy. All right, so we had written down here earlier, right there on our sticky note. This sticky note gets published around 8:30, 8:45. TQQ 48 long, right? And then we did our thing. We're trying to go to the gym, so we went there on the midday. So TQs goes in here. The low of the day on the TQQs. 48.07. So right there, we'll go props up for anybody that was checking that out. What's up to my guy Max? What's up to Hydration Nation? Whether or not you're swimming or drinking the water, I think that's okay, but do not drink the pool water. But at the end of the day, Ramin, are you ready? That 48 long, definitely worthy. But we don't have it. We have it instead right now. And this move is still a monster, absolutely a monster trade right here, Neil. It's the TQQs. Just on this one trade alone, it goes up to P&L number 2, man. And there it goes for me. Nice move there on the TQs, really starting to go higher. Now 70 handles now in the money on, or I guess 70 cents. We talked about the handles have been different, but it's a 19,000 long. You're almost at 19.1 right here on the Nasdaq. So there it goes. There goes Google. I'm back tomorrow, God willing. So let's just keep these trades alive for right now. I assume you're obviously looking at that one, but that's what we're doing right here. IXIC. What's up, Eduardo? There's my guy Brendan as well as back. So yeah, man, everybody's here. We're ready to rock and roll. It's been a monster day. We want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks to Dara for all the work. Thanks Ramin, Fabian, and everybody. And especially a big thanks to you, Bears vs. Bulls. But there goes Google right now approaching $3, plus the trade on the TQs. Today's just one of them days.
Absolutely. And guess what just broke low of the day? The VIX is back under 30, which is only good things for the market. When volatility breaks lows, as long as it can hold, let me just fix the scaling for you guys there. As long as we can hold underneath this 30, we get any more continuation, got to look for some more longs. I'm already back on the bid buying the first available dip that we can get in IBIT. And also, Walmart, we'll see if we can pick that one up. But it's starting to pull back. Ideally, if you get VWAP, you get VWAP, but I got to look at 48.25 as well, which is right around that prior high. So we've only been buying it at 48.2. That's just kind of a coincidence. It was a breakout trade. It was a breakout trade originally that turned into a dip buy. So breakout, then dip buy. We're going dip buy hunting one more time here in IBIT. It's just a matter of Walmart wanting to do something for us other than this parabolic, not non-parabolic move that we keep seeing. It's just going and going and going. You've got Nvidia. When VIX broke that low, Nvidia just got to VWAP, so decision-making point for NVDA. Love for this to be able to participate in the long. And this is going to be a little bit different from what I would usually say about Intel. Usually in the afternoon, I'm thinking, hey, we're short Intel off VWAP. Now it just bounced off the volume-weighted average price and looking just as good as pretty much every other long that I'm seeing. The other good news, I'll just zoom it out so you can see this. Like big-time sell zone at this 20.5 was a big level on Thursday. It was a halfway decent level on Wednesday. So if that can hold on, every quarter dollar seems to be support or resistance on Intel to a certain degree. But this 20.5 looks pretty good for a VWAP dip. But I'm going to probably get IBIT first. Oh, maybe not. We might get Intel off volume-weighted average price first, and then we might get some IBIT. But those are the two. Walmart doesn't seem like it wants to let us in, and I don't like buying that 45-degree angle. Don't really have an entry strategy that works for those. So VWAP play here on INTC. I like the fact that we're doing the opposite of what we would usually do with Intel this afternoon. Looking pretty strong. Webull, we'll keep our eyes on it for anybody that's interested. I have it up. It hasn't halted or anything too crazy recently, at least not that I know of. Last haul was like an hour ago. Ooh, Tesla just went green.
Yeah, what's up to Adam there? Obviously, you know what's going on. Hold an extra piece of the TQ, says Adam right here. So I was just looking at the percentage that I'm still in. I'm still in about 25. Okay, we just got hit. I was going to say 25 to 30%. Now we're in 25% because it was just a rough piece. So we'll hold a little bit as it does come back down in. We got a bunch out up here, but the 50 period is looming now at $50.34. I mean, the fact that we could take 20 handles or 20 cents as a minimum right there is pretty good. I'm watching out. Neil's already on IBIT, but that's 85,000. We're, like I was just saying here, we're 260 cents in the money on Google and 51 cents in here on the TQs. And I could see there IBIT's nicely in the money with 15 cents as well, trying to bounce off VWAP. So yeah, for those of you guys talking about that one. Bears versus Bulls, what's up? Baba. Yeah, we could look at BA right there. Maybe that's moving around as well. A big thanks to Nimrod again there for those 10 gifted memberships. We like that one. Yeah, tonight the earnings is, we just looked at it right here, APLD. Yeah, so applied. So APLD, we're going to have a quick little look at, yeah, exactly. So again, it's, oopsies, I just minimized that. I got to get that back. It's only a $5 name, but we'll double check what that short float is. I'll do it right here. We're doing it live for you now as, again, we're getting lighter. So I just talked about how much of the TQs we're in, still 25%. So actually, it's probably a little bit less. Hold on, I'm going to check that for you. APLD in 1 second. I just want to see what the short float is. There it is. That's the number that we're looking at. 30%, so 30% according to Benzinga right there, 30% short float on APLD. Today, though, conference call at 5 p.m., so it should come right away at 4 o'clock or so. So pay attention to that as we get ready for the after show with Adara and Neil, and that should be a lot of fun. So that is APLD, and then it starts off with Johnson & Johnson and some more banks tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson, Citi, PAC,
Albertsons, I think.
Albertsons reports in the AM. So like we're getting right back into the thick of earnings season where it's like put up or shut up, right? Like I don't know how much of the effects of any of these tariffs are going to be affecting these earnings, but you should at least start to hear what the CEOs are talking about and what their ideas. The guidance is going to matter to those that are confident enough to be able to predict what they might be, like who's pulling back on their guidance, who's widening spreads, what do they see with regards to supply chain, like all these kind of things are going to start to matter. But I don't think you're going to get anything crazy in terms of hard numbers of effects from the tariffs there. So ACI will be one to watch tomorrow morning. I saw someone in the chat asking thoughts on Albertsons. I don't really, I've never owned Albertsons, never traded Albertsons, and it doesn't, this is a 15-minute chart on ACI. I guess if you're really, really into barcoding, it's had a 21 bottom, 21.8 half, sorry, 21.8. that you've been able to play off of for the last little bit. Like just sideways action on Albertsons right at this 50 period, general upward trend. But if you look at the last few days, very defined and boring range on ACI. So I don't know that it's going to be a gigantic vehicle that we're interested in trading. Citigroup, on the other hand, BAC, on the other hand, those banks, absolutely those are going to be tradable for us. Not sure why we're losing VWAP on ACI right now, because the market's looking pretty strong, but maybe some people are getting out in front of earnings. John Rue, thoughts on Delta? I've never liked the airlines, so I'll just get that out of the way. I've never really been a long-term believer in the airlines. Just don't like the space, man. If you need a bailout every 5 years, every 10 years by someone in the industry, then I don't want to be invested. There's plenty of other places to put your money. That said, many analysts tell you that Delta has the best balance sheet. So go with that. They seem to be best of breed for a lot of people, and it's coming off a nice little low. So risk to reward, you can do worse. It's usually good for trading when it's in a trend, but the trend is down right now. So until it breaks the downward trend, forget about it. When the travel names trend, they're fantastic. But trying to pick bottoms on them, and I don't care whether you're talking about the cruise lines or the airlines, it's not about picking bottoms, it's about when it makes a trend break, buy the consolidation and try to get in maybe on a dip or something more reasonable. When you get an upward trend, like buy a dip in the trend as opposed to trying to cash the falling knife. That's my approach to anything travel related, because I've never long-term invested in any one of them. That even includes here. Like I know people that bought Air Canada in COVID, and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I'm like, there's a lot of good stuff you can buy. I don't need to buy an airline. That's just me.
Yeah, no, you, stay in the lane that you understand and that you've sort of looked at, and because that way you don't get carried away and make some, regrettable trades. Because you can make money. Oh, that meta trade was great, but then I got smoked on Boeing or something, right? So it's like just stay where you are there. Yeah. I always talked about if you do like the airlines, I've always just gone over because of the same reasons, not knowing enough about individual airlines, and always said look at the Jets ETF. So unlike the New York Jets, this ETF has a chance of winning. 17 and change right there. If you played the bottom, fine. We'll see where it goes back there to the upside. That is Jets, Jets. Jets, shout out.
Or Ohio State love.
Jets, Garrett Wilson is over there as well, so that should be good. Yeah, Fields should be okay this year. It does. Just because he's a running quarterback for fantasy-wise, I'm not sure it's going to be good for the W column there. As I think New England, got a little bit better. They signed Diggs. I don't know if that's going to matter, but at least somebody in the locker room there to disturb everybody else. That's probably
Diggs is a mess, man.
I know. So that's probably going to be a problem. And then Miami, Again, I don't even know what's going on over there. I do like our guy Tua, obviously, but that's. Did they get a backup yet? Because that's going to be.
I love Tua.
No, so do I. But I worry about the health over there, and if he can stay healthy. And then Achane as well always gets hurt, and but Tyreek wants out of Miami. So maybe that's been changed, but that was early talks at the end of last season.
Achane's trash. You should probably trade him to someone.
Yeah, I should. Yeah,
I'd be, I'll take him out for your hand.
Yeah. I loved when I saw him wearing that huge helmet there, those Guardian caps. That was great. Tampa Bay. A lot of people liking Tampa Bay and taunted. It's telling me no one's hitting that.
Oh, is that for us to go to? Oh, that's happening by itself?
Yes, it's randomly happening.
Oh, the whole time I thought it was because you're supposed to put the glasses on every.
No.
Oh.
That was for one of the trades, but now it's going off. What? Stephon Diggs is with Cardi B. Okay. All right, let's go back over to Adara. I think it was news.
I could say a lot about
Donald Trump has taken the podium here at this White House event to welcome the Ohio State University, the champions here. So basically, we do have Trump talking. Again, he has not answered any questions yet, but it's always worth noting if there is an event, there's always a chance that Donald Trump could be asked a question which could move the market. This time, Trump's also accompanied by Vice President J.D. Vance. So two people and two sets of comments to potentially watch out for here. Right now, though, he's just introducing the team. Back to you.
Yeah.
Right, and I could say a lot about Stephon Diggs.
No, but Stephon Diggs is a great possession receiver. He just has to be mentally there.
Incredible talent, and when he wants and when he's motivated, he's unbelievably good. That's all I will say. But motivation seems to always be a concern with him. So shout
Trump
out.
Is live again?
Well,
If Sharif was here, he'd be yelling.
we
and
usually
screaming
have
that
a
he wouldn't
TV
have
over
Fox.
there for
He always
whatever.
had Fox up on his screen.
Is it Fox? I thought that was CNN.
That is over there, but he complains because he doesn't think they're telling the truth.
Gotcha. No, sometimes just to know that he's talking, because at least whenever he's speaking, to know that something could happen. But it's just the Ohio State visit. Can't imagine that would get to. I couldn't imagine he'd say anything.
Was he gonna make it like an announcement about like NIL is getting too carried away or something? I don't.
Man, let people make their money, man.
No, I'm happy with that as well. I mean, hopefully I'll have a member of my family in that protocol. You know what I'm saying? All right, so 160.13's coming up. Sorry, 160.13, right. Sorry, that is the right price. I just put an offer there. Google's trying to maybe turn around a little bit. The Nasdaq being up 1.6% is really nice today. Sorry, 1.25%. Where am I? So that should be a good little level there. Now it's now it's falling back in. All right, Snappy. I'm going to take some outrage here. My daughter watches some stupid damn YouTube show. And I'm like, okay, Snappy. There's these two guys talking back and forth to each other. It's ridiculous. That's part of the reason why I got the PS5, honestly. I just hooked it up on the main TV. Never watching YouTube again, just playing PS5. Okay, so there it is. They now fight over it. My daughter does the campaign in NHL, and my son does the campaign in NBA. So far, so good. Working out on that.
Basically, they need each other on.
Yeah, they say, your half hour is up, it's my turn. What's up? For sure, David, right there. So big shout out to the two that make
They got to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for it, and then...
Yeah, I have UFC 5, I think it is on there too. We subscribe to the EA Unlimited Games, whatever that is. It's in the game. Yeah, I got to play Madden. I actually started Madden. I got there, and then I was playing it with my daughter. I was trucking people, Josh Jacobs, this and that, and then she wanted to run the drills. So we started throwing some slants and all that. I got to upgrade the rosters. I think you got to download them. Here it is right here. David Treziak. Love to Fabian and to Ramin. Yes, there is a lot of that as they continue to battle the demons that are in those boxes over there, playing random.
It's the ghost in the machine.
Yeah, the ghost in the machine. Well, what's his name? It wasn't Andre, it was Joe talking about Black Mirror is back. On Netflix. I never got into that, but I did watch a couple. I do like them, but I don't know enough to talk educationally.
My problem is it's a show. First things first, it was a trend
break.
break.
0 day, by the way.
Trend break at high of the day on Pfizer. I almost said Facebook. Pfizer, I'm getting into that off the highs. It's 22.20 and the high is like 23, so it's really 3 or 4 cents worth of risk. But I absolutely love Black Mirror. Just as a science fiction fan, it's an absolute must. But I think you'll really like 0 Day.
Yeah, we started the first episode there, and then obviously we're just going to wait to see because it ends like maybe he has some cognitive issues or something. So we're going to wait to see where that plays out. But yeah, interesting. So far, so good there. I mean, I love De Niro.
Hold on a second. Is this true?
I don't know if you guys know about my Italian.
First of all, De Niro.
It's the first ever TV thing.
This is blasphemy, but I actually think De Niro's performance in Godfather 2 is better than anything Al Pacino did. And I love Al Pacino.
Wow, I mean,
he's unbelievable.
I'm down with that too.
Godfather 2 is one of the most brilliant films ever made. I just saw something about where was it?
Imbalances? What were you
saying? Someone just said that, there it is.
Trump.
NIL money in the U.S. is only available to U.S. citizens, not F1 visa athletes. Really?
I doubt that.
Really? Is that true? I didn't know that to be true.
There has to be some, Canada and the NBA.
Yeah, like that
There's many Canadian, well, maybe it's true. And they get paid some other way. I don't know. There was a run there where in the NBA, all those top picks were all Canadian for a while there. Not all of them, but for a couple minutes there. So I don't know. Maybe
I'd be surprised.
There's a guy named Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's doing pretty good over there in OKC.
You mean the MVP, the guy who I don't think he is the MVP of the league.
I don't know.
I think Jokic is the MVP of the league, but I think he'll win the MVP.
I don't know if that was a random one that went off there again. Oh man. Yeah.
That seems crazy to me.
SG. Well, maybe. We can figure it out.
Point is just let people get paid, man.
I liked Pacino in Scent of a Woman. Awesome. That was a good one there as well. Okay. So just to look, I don't know.
All I can picture now is Elaine saying "hoo-ah" when she's ordering the soup Nazi.
Yeah, the soup Nazi is a great episode there. We'll have to rewatch. All of that, man. I wonder if too bad Trader TV Live, we're just doing it live because you got to get some syndicated money on there. Nobody wants to rewatch. All right, so the TQs, Adam, I don't know what you're up to right now. I just took out 2 more pieces, one at VWAP and then one here again at 50. Hopefully we'll be able to print it long, but right now the future's just doing their dance with only a half hour left. We can have a quick little look at these imbalances. Pfizer, again, we sort of talked about it earlier that they were all bids from the morning, and let me just see what happened in the morning again. Yeah, so all those bids turned from dreams to nightmares. What's up to Philadelphia and Meek Mill again coming through right there, but turning dreams to nightmares. Him and Nicki, I don't think are a thing anymore. Is that true, Adara? I don't think he's with Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill. But there it is, 3 mil. UiPath is a sell. Wolf there, that's been a low float sort of runner before as well. We do have XOM coming through one more time to the downside there, but yeah, so far, wait a minute, what is XOM doing today? All right, we're actually up on the day. We could check out XLE.
Oil futures though.
Yeah, well, that was my next look here, was going to be on oil futures, because I actually want to get into some XLE here. It's been really beat up on the downside there, and if we are not...
Oh, bounce.
I mean, recession, we did have Jamie Dimon talking about it. These guys are still stamping greater than 50% chance that we do have a recession. And yeah, I don't know. These prices still seem under control. I mean, it's nice to see where inflation is. It's nice to see the job market holding up. I mean, obviously, as we get more and more numbers, we'll see if the Fed is dependent on those numbers or not and where we go with that. But for right now, it looks like... things are okay. We'll have to wait for the season to come out. Nice to see the bonds settling down. Maybe I should say they are. I haven't looked at the US dollar here yet today. TLT not having a dramatic move.
We'll take
you know, kind of just right where it opened right now. So, okay. Had that move down into $86. Yeah, wild things happening right now. Our board is haunted right now, so stay with us. We do have the recap show is going to be with Neil and Adara.
We'll have Michael on and we get his further thoughts on TLT and what he thinks is going on with bonds and treasuries. Not often you get a swing trader talking about the bond market, which, as he pointed out, the largest market in the world are bonds. That's where the big boys play, but ultimately... Hey, they were the reason why. You can say whatever you want, but they were probably the biggest reason why you had some action from the administration. I mean, they understand. You can't let the credit markets go completely out of whack. You can't let it get too far. Let's put it that way. Can't be too stubborn about it. For now, we got a bit of a reprieve. We'll take it. But with it being 3:30, and of course, the second Sean pulled up the imbalances, of course, I was looking at it too. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's Pfizer in there. Well... if it's a 3 million imbalance, the setup it's set up for the trend reversal short. However, when it's a 3 million imbalance, yeah, probably going to be a little bit more scalpish on this because it is a buy imbalance and not a sell imbalance. That means no averaging in. Whoops, I don't want a midpoint there. I wanted a bid at 16. So we're just going to bid out anywhere to the downside, tighten up the stop. Don't want it running that high of the day or even letting it get too far. Just an adjustment because it is an imbalance on Pfizer to set upside. That Webull, it just kind of felt like it's falling asleep a little bit here. It's a little bit, I'd say, surprising that it had that nice rally to get back into 70, and we've had pretty much no fall through, no falling off a cliff, no ramp into the end of the day. Usually with stocks like this, you will see some kind of last salvo. And if it doesn't happen in the last 20 minutes, and I promise you it happens sometime, like the first 5 to 10 minutes after the close, when there's no halts and all that stuff, and it'll just go crazy. But I'm expecting volume usually to pick up on one of these. It's a day one play for a squeeze, and day one plays that do 400% tend to have some crazy price action at the end. So if you're still in this, hopefully it wakes up for you soon, although if you bought the long on the last dip, you're absolutely laughing. Oops, I meant to go not to Pfizer, but back over to IBIT, which did not get to VWAP. So let me just cancel that bid in there. Don't need that offer. We didn't get to the volume weighted average price. We bounced off of 48.2, which is where we were long before. I thought we were headed to the volume weighted average price, and we didn't get there. So last salvo will have to be in the 20s going into the imbalances here for IBIT. MC saying the bull reminds you of the VinFast IPO. Was it? Was VinFast as big as... VinFast didn't go... Did it go as big as 400, 500% on day one?
Oh, I don't. Maybe. I don't
maybe
know.
it did. For some reason in my head, it's I just don't remember it being that big. And obviously, we know Newsmax was recently very big. I know VinFast made a crazy move, but yeah, it could be just like that. But remember, this isn't an IPO; it's a SPAC. Which the good thing about it is, if Bull falls apart, at least you have a decent idea where to pick it back up again. $10, right? Like that's the price that you take your shot in a SPAC, is at the $10 level. That's what kind of ticked me off about Friday, is there was an actual $10 trade on Friday that nobody was looking at, because I also have to fail on myself. I like to think that I come in early and read news and have an idea like what's the IPO of the day. Like I'll usually know about it. I had no clue that that SPAC was happening. And I now have a website that I'm going to pay more attention to, because there's a Merger R website, which I look for buyouts. They have a SPAC section. So I'll just make sure that I'm also paying attention to that, and I won't miss them, because we don't miss IPOs. So we shouldn't miss a big SPAC.
I just want to bring to everyone's attention, Adam and Erie pages. I mean, you guys, I'm with you on the futures, man. We know that's where the money is. I'm just going to try to sit there and keep doing that. But it doesn't matter. Stock's still good. Everybody has their own thing. Let's go markets, man. Hopefully, Adam, hopefully you've got this one. I just want to say, I keep calling Advanced Money Destroyer with AMD, but realistically, it's these stocks like Rivian and things like that. And I just thought about it because we were talking about IPOs and where they went on day one. Well, Rivian came out at about 105.50, I believe, something like that, right there. It does have a high wick to 180 in the day two, or sorry, that's the second week. I just have weeklies up right now, but Rivian came out into market over $100. Like, so if you were part of Rivian madness this whole way in, you're never in the money until hopefully you waited and you're able to get some of these lows. So I just want to show you, like, this is what can happen. A lot of you may not be aware of where Rivian came to market and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to show you that there's a lot of stories that are like this, man, in the market. And there's been a lot of bad trades that many of you could have put on, right? And it's just, even myself, it's just, these IPOs are very, very dangerous. Better to let them settle out. No better an example, I think, than Reddit, which has really pulled back. Now it's back up for Reddit, but Reddit was one of those moves that went all the way to 230. So it got excited early, then ripped, and then back down in. So you got to watch out, man. Some of these stocks that go up also can come way down. Miss Adara.
TA on watch. Meta here, of course, they have their court case with regards to the FTC trying to break up the company. Mark Zuckerberg did defend the company. He was set to testify today. The FTC claims that Meta's acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp basically stifled competition and innovation. They argued, of course, Meta's arguing the opposite. But before we go back to the guys, as we're about halfway through Power Hour now, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at eSignal. Traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform is everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predictive backtesting, reliable real-time data. Global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform, so do not miss out. Execute your best trades now with eSignal. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Back to you.
Yeah, shout out to eSignal. The trade rate right now is, it's got a few things on there. There's a small capper. Well, STAK is Stack. I don't really know this company. I saw a few people talking about this, but there's also a company called IQ, which is at the top of my trade rate. That's a $1 stock as well. And sometimes you will see these pop up, like biggest volume candle of the day, and then it'll show up on the trade rate. I haven't looked at this IQ, which is on, oh yeah, it's one of these. Never mind. Yeah, it just showed up. But every now and then you'll get something which is probably like a rogue print. But it is that STAK, which is now up 123%. For everyone watching it, just look at the daily. Forget about the daily. Let's go to a 15. You can see this a bit better. Yeah, when this gets to 320, that's about that area. You might get a little bit of, let's just say, dead cat bounce money looking to sell. Those bag holders usually like to take those levels and sell them off a little bit in here, right? It's 340 and we're not getting our IBIT dip, so we'll have to wait for the high of the day. And Pfizer's still a sell, so there's not going to be a reload at the top. Or sorry, a buy, I should say. Sorry, guys. Pfizer's still a buy, so there'll be no reload at the high of the day as long as that's a buy and balance. We'll try to respect it. Wolf might be worth watching as a 2 million share imbalance. NCLH 1.5 early look. These are a couple of UiPath 2.3 million. Those are decent size early. If any of these come out, that big or bigger, they could be worth a little bit of a look. Pfizer, that 3 million buy, it's not that it'll move it that much. It's just more that I'm against the grain on that trend trade, because I'm taking a trend break that's running into the imbalances, and imbalances usually tend to win over technicals at 350, which is only 9 minutes from now. We'll hold I bid into the high of the day. No reload on Pfizer. If we get VWAP, great. If it breaks out our break even, we're out. Plain and simple. We've already taken half out, because the second I saw that buy imbalance, it's like, yeah, we should be getting out of it.
All right. Yeah, shout out to Adam, Erie Pages, all of you guys. Good, man. We still have 20%. We just took out another piece. So now we're out to about 17.5%. And I'm trying to take out more on the futures as we go up. This is the only trade I put on this afternoon. It was a good one. I feel like through this, I mean, how many trades do you need? Just one. So let's wait to see what happens right now for this as it continues to climb a little bit higher into Z-Close. A stock that we never talk about anymore is Microsoft, and it's trying to break out as well right now, back up to the upside as the futures. Definitely having a good afternoon, up now 1.3%, and just hovering near the highs, right? Breaking out, I mean, through the highs of the afternoon. We haven't really given too much back, so that's always a good sign as we continue to look at that. But Microsoft right here at VWAP as well, and looking very similar to those futures, which is why we call it up, but it is also right now just breaking above VWAP. I do think that there's a trade here. We're getting a little long in the tooth though, or short in the tooth, I guess. I don't know what the right thing to say is, because the market is almost closed. So I don't know if we're going to have a big move there. No point in taking it, but we'll have to watch out for Microsoft. It hasn't been performing that great, but at the end of the day, it is a nice battle back, right back there up to the 50-period moving average goes Microsoft. So I definitely am a fan of that trade. Would just like to see all this stuff above the 50-period moving average before we really get aggressive with the longs on some of these plays. Okay, Adam, there it goes, man. My hat's off to everybody in here trading the futures, because there it goes. Nicely cooking now, up to 64.65. This is 50 cents and starting to go. Nice play here on the futures to end the day. It's always nice to top up your day. So there it goes. Nice move higher right there on the TQs. Tesla, we talked about that. Breaking higher. We don't have the trade. Talk all you want. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter, but there it goes. Nice move off of VWAP, breaking higher. Right there also goes Tesla. So glad we had mentioned that a little bit for you guys out there. Tesla putting some damage on the board. Nicely traded there. Up 1.5%, breaking off VWAP. So we took the futures. Super happy with that, but definitely could have had Tesla. And I think the other one that was breaking longer that we were debating was going to be Meta, but it doesn't look like that took those levels out. So yeah, Meta still, well, Meta was 235.50. It's right there right now, 234.50 actually on Meta. So this name, again, you don't really want to trade that. The difference between looking at a Tesla versus a Meta is one is green and one is red. So if you're going to play the long, especially into the close of the day, play the stocks that traders want to go, right? And you're above VWAP here, so all the bulls want to win today. They want to book profits above VWAP, and that's what they're doing right now, or at least close it above VWAP so they can see what happens tomorrow and talk to everybody. We're long underneath VWAP, so that was a good trade there. Tesla up 1.25%. Good on you if you got that one. But yeah, so far so good. We're just going to continue to watch out for these highs. Robinhood, we looked at that today. We'll look at it a little bit more carefully tomorrow. Robinhood still up that 1.5%. The stocks that we're reporting, we had Goldman Sachs earlier on this morning. Pretty blah today. If you looked at this at the open and then came back right now, you'd think nothing happened, because you sort of open up here around 508. You're going out around 508. It does make that dip by opportunity. And again, rewind the show to 8:30 where I was like, this is a trade, but again, don't have it. But that's looking pretty good right around here, right? Pre-market lows plus the highs of the afternoon. Goldman Sachs really held out nicely at 498. So that was a good trade. And then we're still in the money. This is the most recent stock I bought, which was pretty silly to buy it. I understand that. Was JP Morgan, man. We're in the money here. I may just get some out, especially after tomorrow when we get through a lot of the banks. If this doesn't get too much higher than 238, then I feel like we may have tapped out a little bit on JP. So we'll see if it can get above there. sloping down 50-period moving average. Real nice recovery off that bottom. So, yeah, getting a little trigger fingery here with JT Marlin as that looks like it's coming back out. Like a break back down below 231, maybe I just put a stop order in there and actually like do as we preach, get out.
Your guest tomorrow for the aftermarket show was the first person that sort of put me onto having a look at the sloping. Even if your stock is at a level you like, if it's got that downward sloping 50-period moving average, just maybe give it a second thought.
Right.
And so every time I see that, I give it a second thought. Do I like this level? Because it does mean that you're buying it on the downward trend. So yeah, I like that. I love that look. It just gives that extra, because JP Morgan's a good stock. I mean, in other words, you're not, I know you love JP Morgan, but it's just the timing of it sometimes isn't perfect on the setup. Let's go to the desk because I believe Adara has news. 4 minutes to go for imbalances.
Meta is super choppy, but it is worth noting again, we do have Meta and its FTC case happening right now. The company arguing apparently that rivals, for example, TikTok and YouTube apparently mentioned, provide a competitive market for Meta. So they actually challenge the claims the FTC is making that Meta is a monopoly due to its acquisitions here of WhatsApp and Instagram, for example. It is worth noting here that Meta also mentioned the FTC previously approved those acquisitions. So again, one apparently crux of their argument against the FTC is the fact that their rivals, which include TikTok and YouTube, are actually pretty competitive. Also, a couple minutes here until the imbalances. I'm just seeing right now President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance just taking photos with the Ohio State University Buckeyes. Nothing Q&A like has happened at this event. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Adara, for pointing out that the FTC didn't have any issues with the deal when they made it because Instagram was small. And most certainly, there's a lot of competition that Facebook has that isn't like directly the precise same thing. It's just like social media is so like there's YouTube, there's TikTok, like there's just so many avenues out there. And ultimately, I have a healthy respect for monopoly laws and why they exist. 100%, I get it, but to not like it after you make a great investment and it turns out to be a huge success for your company, it's like you had no ideas with the deal when we were buying it small, but when it blows up into something big, all of a sudden it's a huge problem. There was a question in the chat, someone asked, and I've only because I brought up SoFi before that I own some SoFi shares, asking thoughts on, is M-Sense, thoughts on SoFi, is it an overnight hold? I'm wary of this stock. Remember we were just talking about the downward sloping 50-period moving average? Well, this downward sloping 50-period is a heck of a lot more downward sloping than JP Morgan's, obviously. And it's got resistance right underneath the 200-period moving average. So it's at a bad spot, and I can't think of a reason, like look how sideways this is. Like there's just nothing bullish about it in this moment that would make me like it as a long swing. It's right underneath the resistance level for SoFi. And again, I own shares. I was kind of hoping for a 200-period break and then I'd sell some in front of the 50-period. That hasn't happened on SoFi. And I don't want this going all the way to 7 and I haven't made a decision here. Like I promise you this, it's not getting to 7 again without me taking some out. That much I know. But my plan was to get some out in front of 13 on what I thought was going to be a bit better of a market bounce. Like this local bounce that we just had. So there has been a market bounce, it's just SoFi hasn't been doing as much participating in said bounce as I would have liked. So with 1 minute to go until the imbalances come out here, I've already canceled the dip buy on IBIT because I don't think we're going to get it before the imbalances come in. And I got my bids to cover on Pfizer, which for now is like a small buy imbalance. UiPath there, Wolf is going to be there. We've seen some imbalances on Nvidia the last little bit that have moved it around. But I wager with the kind of volume that we've been seeing recently, you need 5 million plus on Nvidia. It used to be like 3-4 might be good. You need 5 million plus on Nvidia. And for a lot of these big cap names, you want to see millions, but like 1 million here or there doesn't necessarily move the individual stock. So 40 seconds to go. Nvidia can't break 112. You're absolutely right about that. What's that name? Le Meow in the chat. I love that because my nephew, my older brother's firstborn son, he couldn't pronounce like Neil, so as a kid he'd call me Uncle Meow, which is like the cutest thing, and it just turned into like a little bit of a nickname. So I love that name in there. I always love it. Kids so cute when kids have like these little like inflections or whatever it might be that's just so unique to them. And so it puts a smile on my face. But Nvidia can't break 112. Maybe it'll do so with a big buy imbalance or some kind of an imbalance in a couple of seconds.
Right, here it comes, and now. So now we have that imbalance out right here. So there it is. It's Nike with a big bid, which is nice to see for those of you long NKE, but it's not doing anything. Apple right there with a sell, so that's nasty. We got out of our TQs. So right there, once it broke view up, we get out at 15s. We had some great outs on the upside, man, 65s and 50. So we only hold 10% and get the 10% out for a winner. So winner. Chicken dinner is all over the place there with that trade. Yeah, nothing else really on here too much. There's Google with a sell. But again, we had just gotten out. So we have, I just have crumbs here. Let me just offer it out right now so we don't have to worry about it. There we go. We are now out of Google. That was just a $2 winner. So now we'll wait to see what winds up happening here. Nvidia with a buy as well. I can maybe zoom in just to see if these stocks are doing anything. Nvidia with a buy. That doesn't look like a buy. Apple, the sell. Wow. Nice little sell side move there for Apple. But yeah, wow. Crushed right there. Maybe if we zoom this back out. Wow, Apple. That's not even that big of an order there, but there goes Nike is just gone. So what just happened to Nike? Did it flip over, or maybe that was a mistake? I don't know. I didn't see too much action there with Nike, but now that it's gone, it is pulling back down as well. So I think the big thing to notice is Apple, right? And this is the thing. If you're into something heading into the imbalances, at least now you know. There's 350 right there. It was fine, but it also just accelerated about $1.20 there on that 350 alert. So bye-bye Apple, downside right there. So yeah, I don't know. We're able to get out of everything. We are now flat, so a good day today. We have one red stock for myself today, and that's going to be Apple. Other than that, man, we traded Google, which we can see right here. And again, thank you everybody for watching. Google was an absolute banger, not an awesome. It was awesome. Right there, Google. That was the best. And then Nvidia was really good. We shouldn't have got in and out right there, but Nvidia was good, and then we slipped up there, gave about 10% or so back. That's flat trade down there. And then the other one that we put on was just the TQs. So there it goes, man. I mean, I'm very, very pleased with all of this today. Tesla, I'm not in it. Everyone's saying, wow, Tesla. Let me see. Yeah, so faded out again, probably, guys and girls, a sell imbalance for Tesla somewhere, which started this down. But at the end of the day, it's a nice move down in the futures anyways, right? And so that would definitely hit Tesla. So yeah, WFC with a buy. I don't know. A lot of these markets are pulling back in here into the close.
Yeah, and with that pullback, like I covered IBIT on the imbalance. Whatever, it looks like it was just a trail out on the imbalances on IBIT, and the same thing happened when we were in that Pfizer trade. It just kind of pulled back into VWAP. So trend break, pull back into VWAP. I don't necessarily love the action you see at the end of the day here because a couple of key names, well, obviously Sean just showed you Tesla. Apple failed VWAP. So while it's up 3%, it's going to end up closing relatively on these lows in here, unfortunately for Apple. And what was a good recovery from the lows, I should say, not a recovery day because the market never really went red. What was a good bounce off the lows is going to end up resuming downtrend over in Apple. So despite that pause or reprieve, it's just not looking that positive here for Apple. Kind of a sell the news event. Nimrod, any thoughts about Wolf for a swing long in these levels? Looks like Xena did before the bump. Oh, Xena the stock, yeah. Also, any interesting ways to utilize election volatility to trade TSX or other Canadian stocks? That's a good question. I mean, I don't really get that active in Canadian stocks, to be truly honest with you. I do think once we have our election, I'm pretty convinced that you're going to get more constructive talks between and more in-depth between the Canada and the U.S. And once things are solidified, right? I think there's an understanding that you want to make sure that you have the person that's going to be making the decisions for the longer term in there, which is looking like it's going to be the current guy, Carney. Hopefully it is. TerraWolf, I hate picking bottoms, man. This is like the ugly, ugly downtrending stock that, okay, maybe it's made a bottom at $2. I don't know. I don't know anything about them in a general sense, and I don't know what the catalyst that's going to get you the breakout on Wolf here. But it's literally at the low, so I suppose you could long off $2, but that's not my cup of tea. Let's go to Adara.
This part of the show is brought to you by Trade the Pool. First, it was commission for trading. Robinhood made that happen, but the next shift is even bigger. Limited risk trading. Trade the Pool is rewriting the stock trading rules. Your only risk is a flat one-time fee, as low as $47. How is it possible? You're trading on the company's capital. No deposits are needed, no personal capital at stake. This is about breaking barriers, not your savings account. Just real opportunity without the fear. So scan that QR code to get 10% off and join TradeThePool.com. Back to you.
TradeThePool.com. You can also join us here at Real Trading if you are outside of the United States. So join Trade the Pool. Otherwise, that is for sure. I'm actually just going to call up. I'm going to look at what were the numbers from Friday. So I'm going to have a look here at Real Trading. You're going to look at this for the first time with me. It's 3:55. We post these numbers up at Real Trading for the top 10 traders. So we'll have a quick look at these right here. So on Friday, here we go right now. It looks like it's a lone wolf upside right there. Someone from the Chicago, not from, that was trading on the Chicago Merc, put up some nice numbers here, Nasdaq and New York. So that's a futures trader, Nasdaq and New York, 24 smackers. Someone traded Australia and Blue Ocean, so not in our time zone probably. They did really well as well, over $6,000. Amex, Nasdaq, New York. Right there, 6,000. Look at this. This is the benefit of trading here at Real Trading. Amex, the Hong Kong futures, the Nasdaq, New York, Paris, everything right there available to you at Real Trading. Again, join the market that you like the most with Real Trading. Blue Ocean, Neil, you and I have talked about that and how hot that's been over the last little while. Blue Ocean,
I meant to show
putting up some nice numbers as well there for those of you that are looking at Blue Ocean.
Before I go to the desk.
Good day. Yeah, go back to Neil then.
Shoot, I was going to try, I've never tried to load Blue Ocean up this late in the day. Yeah, you know what? Maybe you don't still see. Oh, Baba's not loading on my Blue Ocean. Sorry, everybody. I did mean to try to show the Chinese ADRs overnight on Blue Ocean, but it could just be like maybe they killed the data for it at some point. Yeah, it's not coming up for me. Apologies there. But what I can tell you is if you're trading, maybe not all everyday Tesla, but things like Alibaba, JD.com, any of the things that trade over in Asia, if you have access to Blue Ocean or OTC Moon to be able to look to see where they were trading in the overnight, it can be helpful. We've seen those levels sometimes correlate, specifically on those names. Apologies that it didn't show here. I'll show you guys some examples tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Not really sure why it didn't pull up there, but that's a fail on me for opening my mouth and then not checking the quotes before. Only 2 minutes to go. We are going to have Michael Noss maybe talk a little bit about bonds, to joining Adara and myself for the market recap show, recapping what was not a great relief rally for Apple,
right,
with its exemption, but still, price action was fun, and anyone that was short was certainly printing on Apple. So I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, good. Yeah, go get him over there for sure. Okay, so far so good here as we continue, man. And I just want to show something else out here. It's a shout out to Adam and to everybody else. Hertz Global doing something. Oh, Hertz Global, HTZ? Yeah, so Hertz Global right now, just a hack in their data right now. So if you've rented a car from Hertz Global in the last little while, you may want to check, but that's just in my ear right now from Benzinga. Speaking about Hertz, Hertz returned a bunch of Teslas, I believe, over the last little while. But Uber right now, wow, you want to talk about not doing a whole heck of a lot today. Uber would be in that camp. I mean, sure, it's up 1%. We like it. I'm still happy where we are on Uber. I mean, when I looked at that the other day and was like, oh my God, we're down to $58. We're stuck in the mid-60s. Not stuck. We're long in the mid-60s on Uber, so that's been a good one. I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that's still here, man. We started doing roll call when we were doing the recap show all alone. I did that for about 8 months or so. Glad to have Neil, Adara, the whole team now doing that recap show, which has been a blessing because I am pretty tired lately after all this, but there it is. Big shout out to whoever's here, man. Shout out to Monty G, XDAMI, Chef Joe. You're always here. Let's see a shout out to Clover, TS, man. Taylor Swift is in the building. What's up to Monty again and Raul Takar. Thank you to everybody who's here. Of course we're here, says Halim. What's up, my guy, as well. Pizza Rat, one of the best names. We love you too, Pizza Rat. We actually, my kid loves barbecue sauce on the pizza instead of the red. Oh, Volky. Yeah, we're here. Oh, what I wanted to show you also was, I was going to give it, okay, we're almost done. The good thing about this is I don't even need to worry about the bell anymore. I can just go on my own and the bell automatically rings. But for right now, we do have a Dara at the bell, about to ring it in only 3. And of course, this is brought to you 2 and 1. That closing bell was brought to you by Worksport. Make sure you do check them out. WKSP on the Nasdaq. Go find Worksport, a solid American-built company. Shout out to Worksport. But yeah, what I was getting at just real quickly before I do that, and I'm going to do some more rundowns for everybody, obviously roll calls. I just want to show you what it means to get out. And I just think that you have to do trades like this. And I know Adam probably got out, whoever else was long. It is this. This is how Ramin, Fabian, just really quickly here, I just want to show this and then we'll throw it back over to the closing show, the recap show. It's just like if you don't get out. So we only had 10% left, first of all. We had talked about it. I called you guys out, both Adam and Erie, everybody that was trading futures. It didn't look like we wanted to go. We tested up there. We tested up there and failed. And then boom goes the dinamita to the downside right there as we break below VWAP. So once that happens, we're gone. You can't be in at VWAP and not out at VWAP, especially when you see that. So that we do not have a losing tick today on the futures, and it's because of that. We only had 10%, but even holding it just goes to show you got to have those trades. All right, it is your market recap show brought to you by Profit X, and it is ready to go. In 1 second, it's ready to go. Again, just thank you to everybody. Make sure you do stay late. The NASDAQ, yes, XDAMI, it does make new bag holders, that's for sure. We do want to say thanks to Adara for ringing that closing bell. But she's not just ringing the closing bell. She's with Neil. It's the market recap show. I'll see everybody tomorrow right here at 8:30. But for now, it's recap time. Let's go.
Very much, Sean. Your market recap show brought to you by Profit X starts right now, and it starts with Apple looking like poo. That's how it starts because Apple lost it at the end of the day here, Adara. You had what you wanted. There were the exemptions on all tech and all the devices and the phones and the PCs and the laptops and the Jello pudding. No, we're not going to do Cosby. And then all of a sudden at the open, everything went crap. That's the best way to put it. Apple tried to break out early. It immediately lost the bid. It never really got its footing underneath it. Even the midday rally was reversed right back into the low of the day. So despite the fact that you're technically up 2% on Apple, you're closing at the lows. You saw Amazon have a similar fate, although not closing on the lows there. It ends up down 1.6%. So unfortunately, not all was good here in the markets. I think the good sign would be, to a certain extent, if you look at the Qs, you look at the SPY, like they're off the highs. Yeah, sure, we ended up in the somewhat downward trend with that pullback, but you didn't end up closing on the lows in the overall market, at least. So a bit of a disappointing day. I think a lot of people, and I know myself included, when the headlines came out, so we woke up Saturday morning, got those headlines, you're thinking, man, how can it not be a good relief rally on Monday? But it turns out, Adara, that it wasn't.
It really was not. And I think part of that, too, is the fact that Donald Trump, and I've noticed the team has a tendency of doing this. The administration will have a story that is theoretically good for the market, and then they'll be like, that is not necessarily the case, which I like the honesty, but it is an interesting pattern. For example, we had when there was that incorrect report suggesting there would be 90-day tariff pause, which, of course, is later what ended up happening. But regardless, they were very on it about that being fake news, and the market loses multiple trillions in market cap just as quickly as it gained. And what we saw today was pretty similar. We had both Donald Trump, of course, President of the United States, and Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary of the United States, both saying semiconductor tariffs are going to happen. They provided really different timelines, though. Donald Trump said basically ASAP, and then we had Howard Lutnick saying maybe in a couple months. So unclear when they're going to happen, but also stay tuned for pharma tariffs. Pharma and semiconductors, these have really been the two areas that Trump and his team have been hammering home there are going to be having tariffs. Trump mentioned it today during his meeting with Bukele during the Q&A portion. His U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer mentioned during his Senate hearing on all of the tariffs last week as well. So pharma tariffs really do seem like they're going to be happening at any moment here. Same with the semiconductor tariffs. So it seems like this might be temporary reprieve, but in no way does it seem like this is going to be a long-term solution That to me, I think that's what the market was reacting to. But Apple was so hot. Even I, notedly not someone who trades Apple, was looking at it today. And this Profit X recap show is going to have Michael Noss coming on pretty soon here as well. We are brought to you by Profit X here. So it should be an exciting show with our friend, Mr. Noss. Let's see how Fartcoin's doing, maybe. We'll have to find out.
Well, he's always interested in that Fartcoin. But you know what? When you were mentioning, look, we're getting the pharma tariffs in there, everyone just wants certainty at this point.
Yes.
Like that, the markets crave certainty. CEOs crave certainty. Companies want to know the environment that they're existing in. And when you look at SMH, just talking about the semis here for a second, you had a big dip buy level on the SMH recently. And I get it. Whenever we're in a last 2 more years, bull market, 20% upside, any dip level is going to look fantastic because you can't lose when you're going up 20%. But you had this $200 level on SMH, right? And when you had that double top, double bottom in there, that you knew was going to be a big level coming back through. Well, lo and behold, and fingers crossed on this, we closed last week regaining that 200. What it's worth at least looking at here, and I know, yes, we didn't get the certainty that we wanted, and obviously we ended up closing with a little bit of weakness. But what happened today on the SMH? That 200 level, we were able to sort of wick underneath it, bounce off that level, and close above the $200 level on the SMH. Now, whether we're going to hold that in the longer term is going to be a big deal. We'll see. But so far, so good. I always want to see levels like that hold first time through, and it gives you some kind of a base to work off of. Unfortunately, it plays both ways. We lose that this week. I think you're more downside in play. But a key level there, at least held temporarily on SMH.
Yeah, and sorry to try to cut in here, but Applied Digital has earnings, and wow. You'll understand why I say wow in a couple seconds here. And it's not about the move, Neil, it's about the numbers. Revenue up 22% year over year. Great look. They reported revenue of $52.9 million. Then why, Adara, are you saying wow? Well, Neil, this is why. Net loss attributable to common stockholders, so just total net loss, $36.1 million, up 43%. Net loss, up 43%. So again, this is not net profit. This is net loss. They significantly increased their net losses on a year-over-year basis. But what about the per-share basis, you may ask? Oh, that's up 69%, that net loss. So their general net loss up 43%, and they expanded their net loss per shareholder by a cool 69%. So not a great look. I'll quickly check here how this compares to estimates. Yeah, so revenue even looks like they maybe missed, even with that 22% year-over-year increase. And it's always worth noting, I like to be very cautious until I see the estimates that Benzinga and the general public are going with, because the ones that we have aren't necessarily going to be accurate. From what I can tell, the revenue they reported is lower than the estimate I have. In terms of loss per share, it looks like they missed on that as well.
Well, I think the good news is you're not going to have high expectations in a general sense in a company like this, and it's got a gigantic 35% short float.
That's true.
So as far as the reason why maybe you don't see a bigger reaction to the downside on APLD, well, I'd posit that that's going to be the reason. Clear downward trend on the daily. It's already put in. I mean, it hasn't actually even broken its 52-week low yet. That's at $3, it's at $5. So it's not all bad in the chart, but there's your downward trend. Yeah, it's violated it to the upside, but if anything, you break a trend line and do that kind of a reversal candle at the high, yeah, that's even more bearish on the chart because it just trapped more people long and then resumed the trend down. So I'd suspect if you get any dead cat bounce rally, oh, I like what I see here. Shorts will like this one. The 50-period 200 and the preceding trend line top are looking like they want to line up. If this thing tries to squeeze, yeah, there's going to be sellers at the $7 level. You can just picture the hedge funds that are looking to short this thing. If it makes a rally into $7, I can picture it in my head. That's what they do. That's how they make their money. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's what they do. You can just choose to participate if you get that opportunity in there. I did want to jump. And before I know we're going to have Michael in just a couple seconds here, our good friend, the Nas boss, jumping in. But I wanted to just quickly, before we moved on, talk a little bit about the Chinese ADRs today. Because for the most part, there was a good portion of the morning where they seemed like they were holding up well. They got back into the green. And I'm talking about the FXI here at the end of the day. I've been a little bit skeptical of that group. And one of the reasons why is when you look at FXI, the last time we did there's the stimulus bounce, you had this 33.8, 34 area resistance on FXI. And on the second bounce, that turned into support. We're not even retesting that level on this bounce. Like we tried to, look like we might have, and then we got this little reversal candle in here today. So we can't do a strong test of that level. We actually rejected it cleanly here on FXI. So it makes me bearish in the short term at these highs on BABA, FXI, JD.com, Pinduoduo. Throw in all the uncertainty that we have with the China-U.S. Relations here, and I just think you're running into a bit of a resistance spot. I've already sold 2/3 of my Alibaba position, so I feel like I'm not going to sell anymore. Bless you, Adara.
Thank you.
But obviously, everybody, it's been a wild market. And one thing I would say, whenever you're looking at, like myself here, like, okay, I like Alibaba or FXI and shorts on pops, just remember, I liked Apple long today. It's okay to be wrong, just try not to stay wrong. Like if you like a level, if you like a trade, like I like 207 on Apple. So when it came in and started bouncing right off that pre-market low, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be one of our bounces into VWAP. That's great. But the second it starts breaking down, you don't wanna fight it. You know, you can be red, but you don't want to be trying to go long here and here and here when the plan was to hold this level at 207. So we have an idea in mind. It's not just your reason to get in. That level breaking is your reason to get out. If you have a reason to get out, it behooves you as a trader to make sure you do that. That's an important thing, especially in this kind of a volatile market, and something that I know our guest, the NOS boss, is always going to be able to reinforce. I know he loves that as well. And without further ado, let's get to our good friend for some trader talk. Welcome. We've got our good friend Michael NOS in here. And I just said something which I'm going to hope you would agree with. Whenever you have an idea in a trade, swing, day trade, whatever you want to call it, there's a reason to get in, there's a reason to get out, and if you like longs this morning, you had to listen to the reasons to get out. That was just, it's the kind of thing that'll save your day from turning into a disaster.
Yeah, and I think it's always important to note that, right, the best traders in the world, the guys who make more money than we could ever imagine to make, they're right half the time, right? If that, you know, and they've just done a very good job. I'm thinking of the turtle traders and Richard Dennis and that whole thing. Those guys had a 35% win rate and became billionaires off of it, right? So yeah, it's just all about really going for it when you're right, having a way to hold on to as much of the position as you can, and then when you're wrong, you just get out and move on. But it's I always think it's good to kind of idolize the pros and realize that they're not right all the time. So we're definitely not going to be right all the time.
That's so true. And all you can do is in that situation, hey, just put a smile back on your face and look for the next opportunity and try to find your edge there. And I say that because now I have to ask you, what's on the shirt? Because I just see the word smile, if you don't mind. Oh, there it is.
I gave a bunch of these to you guys, didn't I? I thought I brought a bunch in last time I was down with JC.
I don't have one.
Yeah, last time I was down to visit, I put a bunch in there. But yeah, this is from Stock Market Media, which I know you guys are friends of as well. I got it last time I was in New York there.
Well, Dara's got one, so I think a couple of the crew did get them. I just don't have one. I think that's an awesome shirt. We like those smiley faces. There's no question about it. Like those, it's a good pattern. The amount of questions is, Michael, just on a note to that, the amount of questions that we get in the afternoon, and it's like, what do you think of this stock or that stock? And I can't tell you how many times it's something that's in this downward pattern, which is unbroken, because everyone's always trying to find the bottom because you see the potential for the upside. And I almost always have the same answer, whether I've taken swing trades and plenty of things that were downtrending, but I always let it try to break that trend first or do some kind of a parabolic bottoming tail candle. There's got to be a reason for you to get into something off the lows, not just it's at the lows, because then new lows come right after that usually.
Well, and the opposite you could look at today with that Webull, right? There was a lot of people just shorting that solely because it was going up, and a lot of people probably got burnt a lot by doing that today. And then, yeah, maybe next couple of days this thing's going to come crashing back down, but yeah, give it a chance. You don't have to pick the very top. You can let it curve out and come on the way back down, because yeah, I bet you there's a lot of people that had a hard time shorting that thing today.
Oh, I can imagine. And we were noting that here at Real Trading, it was really cheap locates. And that's a danger. That's dangerous because that just means more day traders are emboldened to take the short. Sometimes it's better when it's stupid expensive like HKD and nobody takes it. That way nobody is getting run over. But I've now found that to be, if a stock doing a 200, 300% type move has free locates, I almost take that as a warning sign. Like you almost want to be paying for the locate so there's not as many people in the trade getting blown out to that short side. But Michael, I wanted to switch gears here because you came in this morning. And I know we can talk all about the market moves that we saw today and the small cappers that were going. Came in this morning talking about the bond market, which is vastly different, I would say, from most of the things that we've discussed with you here today. And a lot's being made of the yield curve and the reaction, who caused it or not, Canada, the recent movement in the bond market, which might have spurned a change in tone from the administration. So, what's your look, just for anyone that wasn't watching this morning, what is your look with TLT and the bond market in general?
Yeah, so I can quickly summarize what I was going there this morning with, but it was to talk about, again, the bond market, which we know is boring because it doesn't move very much. But in this market, it's very, very important. And the reason for that, again, is the bond market is $1 quadrillion. It's getting choked up just saying that number, but that's $1,000 trillion. So way bigger than the overall stock market by like a factor of 10. So when the stock market goes down, it doesn't really affect too much, at least in the short run, if the stock market goes down. However, if the bond market goes down, the problem with that is that as the bond market goes down, yields and rates go up. And as rates go up, investment just completely stops, because if I'm going to build a factory or something in America, but the rates get to something crazy like, over 5%, 10%, whatever it is, that will actually just stop economic production as a whole. That's what happened in 2008. We can see it all throughout. So a lot of what people are thinking, what may have caused the reversal from Trump in the tariffs and all of this talk, was the fact that kind of in this area, the bonds were absolutely crashing, just making new lows all the time. Now, there's a lot of speculation about why. There is, the obvious idea of the fact that maybe people are just less interested in holding U.S. debt because they believe it to be less safe now with some of the craziness going on. There's a lot of people who think maybe there's a couple hedge funds that hold this debt that exploded. And then the other idea is that a lot of foreign countries hold U.S. debt when it comes to Japan, I think, has 1.2 trillion or something in U.S. debt, which is by far the kind of the bulk of it. So if these countries decide that they want to force rates up in the U.S. and they want to force the bond market down and the bond market to collapse, then great, that they can just sell treasuries on the open market and that can force that down. So there's some people out there who are talking about that this may be, I don't want to say coordinated attack, but the ability to say, if you put tariffs on us, maybe putting tariffs on you isn't that effective because no one buys things as much from America as America buys from the rest of the world. But if we can force your bond market down, make your rates really high, we can slow down your economy that way. So part of this kind of tit for tat trade war that's going on, and other countries finding clever ways to do it. So the reason I brought that up is because it was right here when, $86 or so, the TLT tanking, and then TNX, you can always look at in TradingView, which is your 10-year rate, that was getting up to 4.5, 4.6% on its way to 5%. And that just happened in a couple of days. It's the speed of rate movements that's terrifying. So if that was going to continue, there's a lot of economists saying if rates just explode like this and the bond market just implodes, there's no lending, no one's building anything, no one's buying anything, and that would just grind the economy to a halt. So I think we watch the bond market going forward just to see if this idea is going to continue, because if it is, then we know where kind of the uncle point is when it comes to tariffs. So as the bond market gets back to that level, we may see a little bit more concession, a little bit more walking back of the tariffs to help pull that up. So more so than picking a level in the stock market, because doesn't really seem to care if the stock market, goes down, if a couple companies go bankrupt. But the bond market, that will affect the entire economy of the world and especially the United States.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, just on an anecdotal level too, is when TLT made a death cross late last year, it actually it was almost a perfect turning point into the lows there. And some of the technicals that usually I'd associate with equity, and this happens all the time, like your 200 period and your 50 period, they've been pretty good. Like I look at the recent fake out at the 200 period and perfect reversal off of that right into the lows, like your false break there. So it respects the technicals, which is always an important part. I know we don't say this enough, and I know you've said it before. If you're looking at a level or a technical indicator, whatever it might be, is the instrument that you're trading on, does it respect it? And so to your point, like the markets haven't always been respecting the level, so maybe look at something else. I've taken to looking for confirmation on the VIX recently. Just because we get to a key level in the futures or an individual stock, I'm like, okay, well, is the VIX possibly signaling we could also be at a reversal point? And then I won't take my reversion trade unless I'm getting that level of confidence. So I think it's important that you brought up TLT. Michael, is there anything, now that we're looking at treasuries, is there anything else that you think fits this bill of another place where we should put the eyes that we haven't before? Because there's a few correlations just haven't been holding. Like I noticed when we saw the weakness today, it's not as if gold started rallying or something like that the way you would have expected. So there's a lot of other correlations which don't seem to be working as well as they did maybe say a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's important to note too, and a lot of, if you're not old like I am, and I remember you remember Neil this too, is used to be stocks would go up and bonds would go down, and they were inversely correlated because people, generally speaking, when things become risky, move from stocks to bonds and vice versa. That broke in 2022, 2023, when the stock market was moving down because of the rates going up. That just completely broke that correlation. So a lot of those that have broke, one that isn't completely broken but is starting to finally buck the trend, I think, is actually Bitcoin here, where Bitcoin wasn't selling off as dramatic as the market, right? And I'm looking at this March 2025 low right here on Bitcoin. We only broke it by a little bit and barely for just a couple days, where if we just go over to the SPY and we look at that same March 2025 low, we completely kind of fell apart under it. So Bitcoin may, for the first time ever, actually be acting as a hedge against what the market's going on. And, you know, to make the crypto bros happy, I know they'll be very happy about this, but, you know, it could just be that Bitcoin doesn't care about tariffs. If you want to do business cross-border, cross-country, all that stuff without getting the eyes of the government on you, Bitcoin's a good way to do it. So although still somewhat moving with the market, it's not like Bitcoin's ripping when the market is tanking or anything like that. It is holding up surprisingly well. Like I've been making all my jokes about how well other cryptocurrencies are doing, a little bit more memey ones. But yeah, Bitcoin's been holding up when a lot of these, like Ethereum, it just looks like hell, right? Just this is the March 2025 lows, moving pretty much exactly with the market, but Bitcoin's holding up. So, you know, Bitcoin didn't help us in 2022. It didn't help us in 2020. It didn't help during the inflationary times, but maybe we're finding the first time where Bitcoin's actually going to be a bit of a hedge against what we're seeing in the overall equity market. And again, that because it's like an international tariff war, and Bitcoin doesn't care. It's going to exist regardless of what the tariffs are on all these different countries.
Believer that you can have this start to behave like we want to over there in Bitcoin, but we need to break that trend line for sure. I love the fact that we've held that support of the prior breakup, but we need to hold that trend line. Michael, I want you to hold the thought for a quick little second. We've had some tariff headlines that I want to make sure, related headlines, I want to make sure we get to with the Derek, because the Qs are threatening to end up underneath Friday's close here. They've been dropping a little bit.
I've got a lot of headlines here, but I'm going to go through them super quickly. So for one, according to the Federal Register, we have the Secretary of Commerce initiating some national security investigations into imports of both pharmaceuticals and semiconductors. They said they'd look into investigating those tariffs. It looks like they're doing both of those as of tonight. So pharma and semi-tariffs investigations underway. Also, Bristol Myers Squibb dropping their phase 3 trial of their Odyssey treatment, apparently showing no new safety signals. So that's not necessarily what you want. BMY dropping to the downside. Someone was also asking about the move in gold today. Apparently that has to do with the fact that there is a popular gold arbitrage trade that's now fallen apart now that bullion apparently is exempted from these Trump tariffs. So that's the deal there. Hopefully that's answered some questions people have. Also, both Hassett, which is the White House economic advisor, and Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, they're both talking right now as well. So lots here. I apologize for the spam in the chat, just trying to make sure we get all of the headlines. And thank you for letting me cut in there, Michael.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adair. Actually, this brings me to a question I wanted to ask you, and it made me remember this, Michael, because we're in an environment right now, we get a lot of headlines throughout the day. And I can tell you, I was sitting in, it might have been Barkin or whoever was speaking, one of the Fed officials was speaking in the middle of the day. I don't remember exactly which one it was at the time. But I was sitting in a comfortable short in like Mara and Pfizer. They're both in the money and just kind of working. I'm like, I threw a trailing stop in there because we're starting to break down under VWAP. And next thing I know, I'm doing something else, and there's just this huge volume spike. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Both of them stop out at the same trail out, I should say, because they didn't lose money on either one of them, but they both trailed out. I'm like, what the heck just happened? My first thought was, oh, what did Trump say? And then before you could even react, you were right back on those lows. And it seems to me like we're getting much more of this on a daily basis where you get these little random events. And I'm wondering, well, I know the reaction for myself is maybe if I use trails, if I want to hold on to the winning piece, I might need a wider stop than normal on a trail. How has that changed your behavior with your swing trades, per se, with all this day-to-day headline risk?
The beauty of what we're doing now over at Stats Trading. So generally speaking, we run a myriad of systems, and what I spend most of my day doing when I'm not, doing analyzing the market is trying to build new systems. Because my whole kind of premise on trading is that the more independent and uncorrelated systems you run, over time, the smoother your return. And a lot of these systems have kill switches where essentially for the trend following systems, late, 2-3 weeks ago, they went completely into cash. So all we're doing now is revision to the mean and pullback system. So what we're trying to do with those systems is actually exploit that volatility where, I was very, very lucky. I can show my Palantir trade. I don't want to brag, but I was very, very lucky that on that, Black Monday that Kramer was talking about, Palantir was gapping down. The whole market was gapping down pretty huge. I got triggered in Palantir and a whole bunch of trades. And then obviously we had the reversal and then we had the tariff walk back and all of that. And it worked phenomenally. So there's an old saying in trading that I always love that I've been trying to figure out how to quantify. And this is one of the systems that I'm now doing that with. And it's, talking about putting your entry where everyone else is putting their stop loss. Because in periods of high volatility, you get a lot of pushing through support and pushing through resistance and then it bouncing. So this purple line is where I got triggered into Palantir and it's up, 40% or so from here. I wish they all could work like that. They obviously don't, but just getting these massive gap downs or these massive sweep lowers and buying into those and then having the massive rips and then shorting into those, I find is working incredibly well. And then the other thing we're doing to kind of help with this is time stops as opposed to trailing the stop manually. I'm getting out based off of time. And it's something that I think is a very underutilized stop loss mechanism. So for example, we all know we buy a stock, you put out a stop loss, maybe you have a profit target in your mind, you put that out and you walk away. I've heard these called shot clocks for how long you're in trades, that type of thing. What I've been doing a lot of is in these systems studying how long on average is a good trade. And for this particular system, it's between a week and 2 weeks. That period of time allows me to not necessarily trail the stop by price, but know that, hey, I have this period of time in order to take a trade and in order to, generally speaking, maximize my winners. And at the end of that, I'll just exit regardless whether or not I'm up and down. And I can see the same thing for day trades because I'm actually working on a lot of day trading systems right now where you enter and then potentially if it's like an opening drive trade in the morning, you know that if you enter that, it should be pretty much right away or it's time to get out. And using that time stop as opposed to a trailing stop, I think really helps with a lot of this volatility because you're right. It seems like quite often you put a stop out in the market and because the volatility is so crazy, that stop gets triggered. And then by the time you look back, you would have been up money. So time stops are something to look. And then also, again, so much more mean reversion, so much more pullback trading than I normally do.
Well, I'm with you on the mean reversion. Appreciate the thoughts there. This is what I love. Like, traders love talking to each other to sort of bounce ideas off. And you notice something that was working that isn't working as much, and maybe you want to get that perspective. And I love, you always say this, that even though you like swing trading, a lot of trading technicals, strategies are very fractal, Michael. And that means they can work on multiple time frames. That's why I like getting your advice in there. I know time stops and a shot clock is something I'm trying to incorporate into my mean reversion trades. Like if it's not working right away in a mean reversion, what are you doing sitting in when it goes sideways? It's supposed to go up and then revert quickly for those plays. But thank you so much, Michael. It's always a pleasure having you around. I got to dig up and find one of those shirts that you sent us because that looks absolutely cool. And it's always a pleasure having you on here. Michael Noss, our favorite CMT over from Stats Edge. Appreciate you, Michael. We'll talk to you later on in the week. Good luck trading.
Talk to you Friday, and I'll reach out to JC for you. I'm sure I'll send some specifically for you with your name on it. How about that?
Oh, good man, Michael. You're way too kind. You don't have to do that, but we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care, brother.
Have a good one. See ya.
Well, the good news, and thank you so much to Michael, that's very kind. Those are really cool shirts. You know, I like a good t-shirt, especially a trading one. But a little bit of a bounce here in the market. We trended down. We actually were heading lower with some of the headlines that Adair was letting you guys know about during the interview. But a little bit of a bounce here in the market. So technically, we end up bouncing off of Friday's closes on the SPY and the Qs. So we're not yet red from last week.
Yeah.
But it's a yet. It was still a disappointing day overall in the market. No questions asked, because I think a lot of people thought it would be a straight bullish day, and it absolutely wasn't a dare. But you know what we're bullish on? The best trading community out there, and as evidenced by all the support and love that we get, including, wow, super chat right here. I could not have just made this up. We're about to get into roll call. I do the usual, but we just had it from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you for the super chat. Neil, St. Vincent and the Grenadines has the best beaches in the world next to Antigua. Have a great evening. I was wondering where you're going with that, but you remembered that my family, which is from Antigua, obviously, and I say it, the most beautiful beaches in the Caribbean are in Antigua, but St. Vincent is beautiful as well. Absolutely great island. They're all gorgeous, and they have their own little nuances in there. And if you ever get a chance to visit, do so. The people are lovely. The beaches are lovely. The weather is lovely. And you guys are the best community out there. That's why we do the roll call, and that's why we ask you right here on the Profit X Recap Show to get your name in the chat. To do it, hit that subscribe button so you can be in that chat. Shout out Fabian and Ramin on the ones and twos, killing the ghosts in the system so we can have a good show for you guys this afternoon. Shout out to the Bash brothers, of course, both Sharif and Joey Options, my man Sean, Brendo, and of course Adara here getting you all the news live so you don't have to trade blind. And big thanks to Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business. We can't do it without you. Every single day, put in that hard work all day long. We don't thank you enough, but let's get that roll call on, Adara.
There were truly so many headlines that there's no way I could have summarized them all in the chat. I put them in as they came out. I'm considering doing just, I don't know, an infographic on all the little headlines we got for tomorrow, but that, we'll see if we have time for that because I'd love to do that for you guys. But thank you all for being here. Thank you, Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe, Brendan. We have Fabian, Ramin, and Andre, and we have the Bears versus Bulls. Thank you for everything you do every single day. Apogee King. We have Scott Moore, Bears versus Bulls, Trey Only, Chef Joe, Why Not, Silverado Blue, Charuz, Borahout, Peanut, Airy Pages, Bear Slayer. We've got St. Vincent and the Grenadines, thank you very much for your super chat. Thank you, Andrew Chow. Thank you, Sports and Stonks. Thank you, Ronaldo, The Piper, Aldrin, Geiler, and slowing down a little bit here. Reza, Johnny H, Pitch Bull, and we'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully with another wild day of trading. Make sure to follow TTV Research on X if you want some fun little market analysis. I make infographics, I post stuff, so check that out if you enjoy market-related content all the time.
Absolutely, and hopefully the markets will be as tasty as saltfish and ackee, which is a great dish in the West Indies, by the way. We can't predict what it's going to be like, but what we can tell you is we will be here bright and early every single day the market is open, 8:30 tomorrow morning. We'll see everybody here. We're Trader TV Live, and we'll be right back at it tomorrow. Best of luck, everybody. Have a good night.